Alvaro? All right. Should we continue, or should we message Alvaro? We guess we have to wait for Alvaro.
I have him on WeChat. He's trying to log on. I know that.
No worries. Yeah, Zoom should be easier
Yeah,
than
I see him just two seconds ago. Okay, guys, now we leave our next panel discussion with moderator James Z. James, word goes to your side. Introduce yourself and introduce our panelists as well.
Awesome. Hi, guys. Thanks for being here, joining us today. The topic for today's discussion is very interesting. We don't have a lot of time, so let's jump straight into it. So this panel is on investment trends, a snapshot in the beginning of 2020, and the lessons for the future. I'm your moderator today, James Zhang, founding partner of Black Panther Capital. We're a multifamily office and fund of funds, so we invest in both traditional tech sector and cryptocurrency, including many funds out of San Francisco and Europe. So today we're joined by 4 all-star panelists. Please introduce yourselves a little bit by your firm and give everyone a brief bio. Why don't we start with Omer?
Thanks, James. Hi, I'm Omer Austin. I'm founder of Rocktree Capital. We invest into traditional and blockchain companies, primarily in Greater China and Asia, North America, and other parts of Europe as well. And so our mission is to help those companies bring the markets together. And so Western companies enter the China market, great Chinese companies enter the international market so we can add value to the projects.
Very cool.
Jason?
Hey, hi. This is Jason Fang. I'm a managing partner at Sora Ventures. Sora Ventures is an institutional fund backed in by a family office, mostly in Asia. We started in 2018. I've been investing then. We've mostly expanded into other products like secondary advisory. We are about to launch our own KYC wallet, so we have our own development team now, as well as we've also been working on new funds along the way. So have expanded a bit since 2018, but our focus is still primarily in investments and blockchain.
Awesome. Alvaro, do we have you there? All right, I guess Alvaro is experiencing some technical difficulty. We can just push forward first. I'm sure he'll join us soon. So, I mean, the first issue that I want to tackle here for everyone, I'm sure is on everyone's mind, is, the world is in a very different place than it was 3 months ago. I've been stuck here in LA for 3 months. I can't go back to Asia. As we all know, there's this thing called COVID-19 that took us hard a few months ago and still going on right now. So I'm very curious as to how COVID has affected and impacted your investments in your firm and your strategy, from taking Chinese businesses and expanding into the US and playing a cross-border play, or being more of a crypto token focused fund that's helping these projects such as Casper Labs. Why don't we start with you this time, Jason?
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, in 2018, our focus was primarily on investment into ICOs. Obviously, that environment has changed a lot since 2018, and we have evolved a lot in terms of strategy. So a lot of 2018 and 2019 hasn't, in my opinion, been kind of like a adjustment in our industry, where there's a lot of shift in terms of talent, a lot of shift in terms of resources, but mostly there's a lot of shift in investments, right? So what we've done is in 2018, remaining of end of 2018 and 2019, we've been focusing primarily on infrastructure. So infrastructure on building secondary team, infrastructure around building products that we think would help on community development. Then I emphasize on community development because I think it's as core to any successful project in the crypto space. And finally, we also been kind of experiencing on what work, what doesn't work, mostly with helping fundraising and really testing our market with advisory team. And Casper is one of our clients as well. So we're very selective on a lot of these kind of strategic players that we work with, but every player we work with, there's a reason behind it. And I think this is a good time for us to kind of like improve our infrastructure, test our infrastructure, and when the time comes, then we're going to go more aggressive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Homer?
From my perspective, we've been living with this pandemic for almost 6 months now. I live in Beijing. We went over, my family and I took them to New York for the holidays, and we're going to stay a little bit longer as we saw the virus develop. And then we just decided we better stay in New York, not head back to Beijing. And then 3 months later, New York became the epicenter of the pandemic itself. So we've been living this for quite some time, and what we noticed is, the first few months of 2020, a lot in the media in the United States were wondering what's going on with the price of Bitcoin. Why are all coins going up? And the reason for that is because what this has forced is digital engagement for the entire population, particularly the blockchain population. And so in China, you had a lot of people entering the secondary markets, trading, and you saw the rise of Bitcoin and also altcoins. And we've seen that as proving out our model in terms of digital currency. Also, we have other investments in traditional. So, for example, we're an investor in a Chinese online education company. Frankly, in 2019, their numbers were not that great. In 2020, they reached their 2020 targets in the first 3 weeks of January. And so what's happening is we're seeing anything that involves digital engagement developing quite quickly. And also, related to what Jason mentioned, one of our portfolio companies, Casper Labs, we've helped them. There isn't as much activity in the West, but there's more activity now developing in China. So we've taken them and we're actually developing a program where they're launching on approximately a dozen exchanges across China. So there's a lot of liquidity in certain regions that are more impacted by COVID, going online, digital engagement like this event itself. And that's a good thing for our industry. And that's what we're seeing in the future as well.
Awesome. Let's talk a bit about the day-to-day as an investor in 2020. I think this is something that's underrated and not much appreciated for crypto investors on peers in other industries, where you don't really expect projects to be so, as we say, decentralized and spread across the world from Beijing to Berlin. Usually tech plays coming out of the West and adoption coming out of the East. Kind of like, what do you guys expect as investors day to day moving forward in terms of your travel schedule, meeting projects? Are you going to SF to meet these projects? Are you going to Berlin, or are you staying and investing from Beijing? Would projects, prefer funds that are geographically located to them, given the pandemic, the world we are in today, so they can feel closer and more helped? Or are they still looking for broad global investments?
Do you want me to start?
Sure, please.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question because, we have one of our portfolio company, Origin Protocol, they have decided to basically lease out their office and go fully decentralized or distributed. I think what's really, really interesting is a lot of companies, not just like blockchain, we have some top tech companies in the world. These tech companies usually have, work under the same roof, but they kind of figure out a way to work efficiently during COVID. And now they have kind of adopted a practice where they let a lot of their engineers to kind of work from home and becoming more optional. So I think this is becoming more trendy. We, for example, have always been quite distributed. So we're kind of used to this environment. But I think it's worthy to note that a lot of non-blockchain companies are doing that right now. And I think a lot more companies will find it very, very efficient. In terms of investment, we're definitely not traveling anytime soon. But we have seen is a lot of companies have reached out to us in email and in, like WeChat or if through intros. What I do think is interesting right now is because it's hard to kind of make those seed investment, early stage investment without actually meeting the person upfront. A lot of our investment strategy is now on secondary or in what we call 1.5 market. We don't usually disclose their investment ourselves, or we don't even mention that we're investors in those portfolio companies. But a lot of times we have a very, very quick turnover rate, and we'll, depending on how the market flow, we'll analyze that it's being undervalued. We'll buy a portion of it from secondary, and then we'll exit out when the time is appropriate.
Yeah. So related to what you mentioned, James, there was in traditional VC, there's the 2-hour rule, which is if you can't fly to your target company with a 2-hour flight, then don't bother investing in it. And I think one sector that's actually transcended that is blockchain. Blockchain and crypto investors, whether it's institutional level or retail level, has been decentralized, distributed, global. And that's a great thing about our sector. And so I think no matter what, we are always looking globally for investments because, as you mentioned, adoption is in Asia, liquidity is in Asia, a lot of innovation is in the West. And then there's different policies between each country and there's regulatory arbitrage. So that is a fundamental part of our investment thesis. And what this requires now is that you have to be, there's a Chinese word called 接地气. And that means you have to be 接地气 in all these markets. And what that requires is you have to have a team on the ground in these major markets. And if you don't have a team on the ground, you have to have friends and partners that you can absolutely trust who are 接地气 in those markets. So I think that's an important thing. I don't think we're going to be going back to having face-to-face meetings just, lackadaisically anytime soon. It's only going to be the most essential meetings. And frankly, Zoom is a lot more efficient. But really to know the background of somebody and to feel them out, you're going to have to trust people on the ground in the locations you invest into.
Right. I guess an interesting observation, since I feel like we're all kind of, we agree that a lot of these conferences and meetings can be done virtually. Do you still see kind of a need for example, consensus and et cetera in the future, such as this conference? Where would we go in the future? Will you still travel for conferences, or are you think it's mostly going to be virtual right now?
For me,
sorry, Omar.
Yeah, I prefer face-to-face all the time. You can read body language, you can get a feeling for the person. You don't get that from video. But video has its own advantages. Like we're all dispersed all over the world and we're having a meeting right now. We can see each other talk and so forth. And so you can do that. I think that there's efficiencies for both. I still prefer face-to-face.
Awesome. Let's shift a little bit to, as we enter 2020, I think we have to spend a few minutes right now to discuss one of the most historical events that happened in crypto that everyone's been waiting for, the Bitcoin halving. So essentially, I'm very curious on how you guys responded to the halving, if it was what you expected to price movement, and whether you made any changes or at all to your portfolio before and after it happened. Let's start with Jason.
Yeah, so I think the halving is very interesting. By itself, I think it's already interesting, but the fact that it's kind of like happening during this period of COVID-19 and kind of the Fed printing trillions of USD every day, I think it's very interesting to note that this will have a kind of a huge impact on products like Bitcoin. With the kind of sentiment we're seeing right now, the U.S. market, we do expect Bitcoin to continue to go over time. I think we won't probably see any huge rallies anytime soon. Maybe in 3 to 4 months, we'll probably start seeing some big rallies. But before that, I think it's going to be very flat because the U.S. market is still kind of closed. But one thing for sure is this time with quantitative easing and just in general, we're seeing a lot more USD in the supply and in the overall market. I think that will really, really affect the Bitcoin price.
Yeah, I agree with Jason. I think that we're still waiting for the other shoe to drop in the US equities market. That will come, notwithstanding all the quantitative easing, which is supposed to be unlimited. We still, I think the equity markets right now in the United States and globally are sort of priced into the end of June. But let's see what happens in July, August. If we can't get the economy back on track, it's not priced in. So I think we're going to see some corrections, major ones, and that'll impact Bitcoin. But going forward on a long-term basis, the birth of Bitcoin was 2008 under the exact same conditions that we have today with respect to the economy, with respect to printing money. except this time we're a factor of 2x, 3x of the amount of quantitative easing that we had back then. So the spark to ignite cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin has now, we've got an entire environment with those exact same conditions, but magnified. So I anticipate whatever we thought was going to happen in 2021 in terms of optimism for the pricing, I think it's going to be even better than that.
Understood. So did you guys in your portfolio, for example, liquidate a bunch of such as your altcoins or other tokens such as Ethereum into Bitcoin, as it was only the Bitcoin happening and there wasn't many other things happening with the altcoin market, or are you still kind of seeing the correlation to be close to one here? I'll always start with Omar this time.
Yeah, I think that you know, a lot of people did get hurt by the crash in March. A lot of funds did. We were impacted. We had equities, obviously, and we needed to have liquidity. We also, Gangan, which is like leverage on Bitcoin. Obviously, you know, that's to drive returns and make things efficient. Luckily, we didn't have too much leverage, but we did have some. I think anybody participating in altcoins and Bitcoin will utilize this tool. And so if anybody did, depending on how conservative they were, they probably did get impacted. And we did as well, but we've done great to control that. And now we're just ready to jump into the market again as things we believe will drop in price. So we're just waiting.
Got it. Jason?
Yeah. So for us, I think, I totally agree. I think we're very much affected by kind of what happened in March. But like, once again, what's really, really interesting, I think, is because we've spent so much time on kind of researching and developing like proper infrastructure. I think, what happened in March is a very, very clear indication whether your strategy works or not. The things we're seeing right now in China, at least in Asia, is a lot of people like to have short-term investments into Bitcoin, into secondary. We call quant developers, quant traders. The problem with that is it's incredibly risky in Bitcoin. And what we've noticed is the performance for traders who are more long-term, their performance is actually really, really good. In fact, a lot of that strategy actually worked really, really well during March. So it really depends on kind of like what we're seeing right now moving forward. But at least to us, it's very clear that short-term traders, quant traders don't really, really work in our environment because the exchange's infrastructure are not ready yet. We're definitely going for more of a long-term strategy.
Yeah, I would just add to what Jason mentioned, that I think that there's significant amount of leverage in the markets and also short-term speculation. And I think that that's generally hurting the price of Bitcoin. I think that the appreciation could be a lot better if we have so much leverage and short selling and people going bust. And so what that does is it tends to accentuate the swings. And frankly, there's even possibility that there's a considerable amount of manipulation out there, because when the price tanks, then a lot of people lose their Bitcoin as well. So I think that this has somewhat capped the rise of the price of Bitcoin over the long term. That has been a challenge.
Awesome. Yeah, I completely agree. I think everyone's sitting here right now, we're all institutional investors, representing LPs, family office, etc. Haven't been in this space for a few years, and yet still there are mistakes made and investments that have gone down. So nonetheless, for the retail investors that are coming in right now, I feel like it's extremely tough. On the quant fund side, I completely agree with you, Jason. For March, I think a few of the funds that we had due diligence, such as Crypto Labs, All-Star Team, 10 guys out of Moscow, school hard to get into the MIT, Systematic Trading, you got Adaptive Capital, Murad, Willy Woo, both the funds blew up from one very simple overexposure leveraged Gangan to Bitcoin on BitMEX, where they could not put up more collateral when the Bitcoin and June was ingested. In those 2 hours, they dropped to 4,000. So I think with even these very professional teams, it's extremely hard to do short-term selling. So just a word of caution for any retail investors that may be listening to not do day trading on Bitcoin too much. On the other hand, I'm very curious on kind of your advice on you guys for retail investors right now. After the halving, Bitcoin is essentially a hedge against fiat regimes crumbling. We see the weakening of many currencies around the world. Are you guys seeing Bitcoin? Obviously, I hope you do, as gold 2.0, digital gold, store of value. But for many retail investors, they see it as still a speculative risk-on asset. So what would you say to them in terms of investing in the crypto space in 2020 going forward?
Well, maybe I can start. Like, my background spans internet, traditional, and blockchain itself, and I think that's something that related to investment is that people forget their lessons quite quickly, and so I think that we are headed eventually for a bull market. I think we're going to see that. Past performance indicates that, and I think that for the individual investors, Bitcoin obviously is one safe haven, but particularly in China and other sectors, they want to make more than a 2x return or even a 3x. And so I think that the best investment are still layer one and infrastructure projects, new ones that have solid tech. The round of layer ones that we saw prior to the last halving, a lot of them aren't there anymore. And so, there are some that are there, and we're just going to get a whole new crop, because for the protocols, the technology is kind of like cell phones, smartphones. Like you go from Nokia to Apple, then, or to BlackBerry, then Apple, then Samsung and Huawei. And it's, the tech moves very, very quickly. And in 3 years, you're pretty much obsolete. And we see that with a lot of the layer one protocols. So I think Bitcoin and investing in infrastructure for the new ones is a good way for retail investors to go if they can get in early enough.
Awesome.
I tend to see Bitcoin as definitely more speculative. And the reason for that is because a lot of people used to argue that there's a correlation with Bitcoin and a lot of the equity products in the market. But nowadays, I do feel like there is less of a correlation, which means that a big part of understanding Bitcoin and kind of like whether you should even invest in Bitcoin is you have to go back to kind of like the step one, square one, and that's really learning the basics of understanding Bitcoin. And I think regardless of how people see Bitcoin, I think the truth is a lot of people don't understand Bitcoin. A lot of people don't understand the history of Bitcoin. They don't know the value of Bitcoin. They don't know how to undervalue, when it's overvalue. And a lot of these things make it very, very tricky, right? This is why it's very volatile in the industry, because when you don't understand something, you go with the flow, right? You go with the lead. If the market crash, you sell. If the market pumps, you pump, right? You buy. So there's not a lot of rational investors out there in the market, making it very, very volatile. And I think the truth is, if we want the market to be more stable and more scalable, retail investors, especially those who have never touched crypto or only barely know a bit about crypto, should go back to the basics. This is actually one of the things that we're doing right now, which is we're launching wallets that give out free crypto. And then there is a USD component in there. There's a trading component in there that enable basically people with free crypto to exchange for Bitcoin and Ether. It's a small amount, but I think it's a good way for people to start trading and having a better understanding of how crypto works. We definitely don't advertise or want people to be speculating, because we think, like I said, I don't think speculation works in this industry. Even though it's a speculative product, I think the vision of Bitcoin should kind of eventually, if you want to kind of hit the large cap, then you gotta go back and kind of like the basics and kind of build that infrastructure, which is learning, educating, and giving more free tools for people to have that experience without having to put their money up front.
Awesome.
I think one interesting development we might see over the next 2 years is the actual original use case for Bitcoin, because it's decentralized and it's transparent. You heard that Venezuela tried to access its gold reserves from the UK, and they were denied. And so Bitcoin is the only asset that you can actually own yourself. So you've got situations where governments all over the world are printing money, especially the United States. You're going to have bankruptcies and major inflation in a number of countries. You might even have what happened in Cyprus in 2013, where the governments are starting to take money out of people's accounts or locking them out of their accounts, and then people transferred to Bitcoin, which really gave the first major international rise of Bitcoin price 7 years ago. You might see that again over the next 2 years. And it doesn't take that much. There isn't a lot of liquidity in Bitcoin. It's not such a massive asset class. It just requires a small amount of money, like 100 million, 200 million, and you can make major moves in the price of Bitcoin. I think we can see things like that coming over the next couple of years.
I really hope you're true. You're right here. I might be speaking subjectively, but I hope you're right.
Yeah. The thing is, a lot of what we're seeing at least right now is even if there's 100 mil, 200 mil coming in, they're not reflected in the market sometimes. It's only the big traders who are coming in making speculative move that are really trying to affect the market. A lot of these large deals, when, like, for example, we have people who come to us to buy like large amount of Bitcoin, it doesn't really move the needle because we're basically connected to multiple major OTC desks.
Right.
The OTC desks serve as a platform to not move the price. So you don't actually want the price to move, but it's still able to kind of absorb the demand. So because there's better infrastructure today, because there's more demand today, we have a better transparency. We have more transparency to see what actually moves the needle, what doesn't actually move. We think that even if there's going to be a lot of money coming in, it needs to be specifically like retailers, either retailers or large institutions that are kind of like in the trading space, have been trading other products, and now see Bitcoin as kind of the next big thing.
Right. Now, I think for people to come in and actually use Bitcoin as a store of value and then as a use case that is intended for, they have to really understand it. And the matter of fact is, in China, in the US, it's just very hard for people to, right? In China, you go to Starbucks, you go to McDonald's, you can use WeChat Pay, Alipay 10 times easier than cash, or Venmo. In the States, you got PayPal, Venmo, Stripe, etc. But growing up I personally grew up in Africa. So growing up there, that taught me that, you cannot really trust your central government fiat regimes. Hyperinflation is not as mythical as it sounds. A day you can be a billionaire, next day you can maybe not be poor, but definitely not worth half as much as you were before. And this was a reality. I saw many friends of mine growing up from Zimbabwe, Zambia, etc. experienced, much like Omar mentioned 7 years ago in LATAM. This was 4 years ago in Zimbabwe as well. Bitcoin trading at a 4x premium. So I definitely think it really has to do with the way you grew up, your environment, your surrounding, to understand a use case for something like this that isn't used for everyday pay, ease of use, but more of a store of value. I guess we have a little bit over a quarter of the panel left. I really would like to take some time to discuss right now, because I realized an interesting trend. All three of us are based in Asia, Shanghai for Jason, I believe, Beijing, and for myself and Omer. And we all travel and do cross-border investments to the US and elsewhere for blockchain. So I'd love to hear a bit more about what you guys think on how should I put this? The difference and similarities, I guess, between the East and the West, and any predictions you have in the context of, obviously we know the East is trying to catch up to the West, right? In terms of tech, there's a DeFi hack of LendDef a few months ago. Then you got the West trying to catch up on adoption of exchanges and options, derivatives, etc. So I'm very curious to you, because there's this like kind of whole sub wave going between East and West. I'm curious what you guys think on the forefront. Let's start with whomever, please.
Sure. So I think the simple way to put it is US is always equity and primary market and more of a long-term investments. And I think that's unique to, I think that's the reason behind that, is because a lot of the investors who are investing in these funds are long-term funds. So by design, these funds are meant to be long-term investments. Whereas in Asia, it's more in the secondary. It's more about trading. It's more about liquidity. It's more about fast turnover. So, right, and I mean, most investors who invest in crypto funds, they're expecting like a 1-year lockup, if not, less than 1 year. The shorter, the better. So naturally, you're kind of restricted from investing into anything that has too long of a long-term lockup, because that puts you in the spot of, you guys are fund managers into what we call side pockets, and you don't want to have too many side pockets if you're a liquid fund. So there are naturally, because it's fund structure, there are going to be restrictions, but because the culture differences. To put it simple, Asia is more about fast money, short-term money. US is more about the primary equity market.
So I'm going to look at this from a very high level and just speak directly. So we've worked with Chinese government and different provinces to promote blockchain. We've also worked on the US side with Congress. I wrote an opinion piece back in March about the SEC new safe harbor. We were at the Libra hearings with Facebook, speaking with Congress and talking with them about how important cryptocurrency is for the United States. And I'm just going to say it very frankly that in the US, which is the leader of Western countries, there is at a very high level, there's a high degree of trepidation about cryptocurrencies and what that can do for both Wall Street in terms of competition and obviously the Fed in terms of the dominance of the US dollar. And so, what's happened with crypto in the United States is it's been, particularly utility tokens, have been regulated almost to death. And so that indicates that there's a fear of this. And so this has presented a huge opportunity for a lot of other countries that embrace innovation. China, for example. China has a great attitude of embracing innovation, embracing science. And so we've seen some of the best use cases for crypto in China, even though technically there's a policy against it. Guess what? The largest exchanges in the world, a lot of them are China facing or started in China. The biggest miners, China. The biggest use case of USDT, China. So we get a lot of the liquidity there. And so I think that this is a big opportunity for globally. I think it's true, like a lot of the, what Jason was saying in terms of, long-term and short-term. I think the good thing about Western projects and Western investors, they're more long-term thinking. In Asia, there's a little bit more short-term thinking. They need to make money in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And both of them are good for the blockchain community as a whole. But I think the great thing is in Asia, there's early adopters, embracing of innovation. There is a huge speculative community that likes to take risk, make money, and that perfectly dovetails all the things that crypto represents. It's very good.
Awesome. Omar, you just mentioned mining. I would actually like to take a quick cut into mining, because I don't think a lot of retail investors, especially paying attention to the blockchain and price movement, understand that I personally, my own opinion, 70-80% of price movement of Bitcoin right now has to do with miners. And whether it be manipulation, like you mentioned previously, or different machines, hash rates using different power sources in China, so they essentially, at what price you can get your Bitcoin is what controls the price for all the retail investors, because once the miners sell off, your price goes down as well. I'm curious what view you guys have on the miners and what you're seeing out of China and the US right now, whether you think we should actually, and retail investors should be paying attention to kind of the movement there on the chain.
I remember I was a couple of years.
Please, we have a couple of minutes to left. Yeah.
Okay.
Omar, you have 1 minute and a half.
Sure. A couple of years ago, I was having lunch with Li Lin, the founder of Huobi, and he told me that what was really going to impact the price of Bitcoin is stable coins. And what we've seen with miners is they've shifted from Bitcoin to being into stablecoin. They're taking leverage in USDT. They're spending in USDT. And so we talk about Bitcoin, but actually the use case of crypto itself, stable coins are another major use case. And this is the amount of USDT that's being printed on other stable coins is massive. So mining has just transferred from being pure Bitcoin and some fiat to being long on stable coins because they use them.
Awesome. Jason?
Yeah, so I think for retailers, if they want to interested in game mining, I think that's a very, very difficult industry or difficult market to get in, just because mining is one of those things that if you don't have the best miners, then your miner can actually get depreciated, your value can depreciate really, really fast. Our technology is always improving, and the demand for the best miners is always on high demand. So unless you really, really know the best people in the industry who have the exclusive access to the best miners, I wouldn't even consider it as an investment from a retail perspective.
Understood. Awesome. Sergey, is there? Thank you guys for
guys. Thanks a lot to you, to both of you, to Theodore, James, to you as well. Yes, we have to go forward. We have to move forward. Our next speaker is already here, guys. I want to say thank you a lot for your great discussion here in this panel room. James, Omar, Jason, goodbye to you. Just please, I'm going to out from the live stream. Yes, thanks, now it's stopped.
Perfect.
Yeah. Have a great day. See you in Beijing.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yes,
thanks, guys.
Take care.
Okay, we are on air now, and on this, and here with us is Mohd Shahnawaz. I'm sorry, Mohd Shahnawaz. Yes, President of Government Blockchain Association in United Arab Emirates, and his topic is about building world's first blockchain city. Word is yours. Go ahead.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. I am Mohammed Shahnawaz, President of Government Blockchain Association, or GBA UAE as it's called. GBA is basically a technology agnostic global association whose mission is to promote and accelerate blockchain adoption in government sector via education, advocacy, and partnerships. We have around 50 chapters around the world and headquartered in Virginia, USA. GBA UAE was started recently around February, and where we had many thought leaders and blockchain professionals come to our webinars and discuss different blockchain projects. This week we have one blockchain prominent personality coming. He's also known as the father of blockchain. More in the end of this, towards the end of the talk. So one disclaimer is that the Government Blockchain Association is not affiliated with any government entity or private entity. We don't endorse any projects which I'm going to mention, and it should be only used for educational purpose and not constitute as legal, financial, or investment advice. So Dubai. Today's discussion is Dubai. Dubai is a city located in the United Arab Emirates. In 1960s, it was really a small trading city in Middle East, selling pearls, dates, and now it's one of the most visited city in the world. Since the discovery of oil, the government of Dubai has diversified in different sectors, and one of the sector they are betting on is emerging technology. That's in AI, blockchain, and IoT. So they have many government departments who have been the mandate to implement the industries of these emerging industries in Dubai. As you see, this is the building of Museum Future, where they host and showcase different emerging technology. This building was completely made by algorithm, and it's a very complex building, much more complex than even the tallest building in the world. So today we're going to talk about one of the government arm who's been a forefront in implementing different technology. That is Smart Dubai. Smart Dubai main initiative is to make Dubai the smartest city in the world. Smart Dubai has two main initiatives. They have many initiatives, but two main initiatives are, one of them is paperless initiative. Paperless initiative is where in April 2017, the Crown Prince of Dubai, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed, he basically instructed the government to make the government paperless. That is by 31st December 2020, the last paper should be used. That means by 2021 we have to be using. I mean, we have to use completely digital transform. We don't have to use any paper. So this is one of the paperless initiative. The second initiative, before I go to the second initiative, we talk about blockchain. So blockchain, those who don't know what blockchain is basically a decentralized database with three main properties. It's immutable. It is also transparent, where the stakeholders can see the data, and also it's traceable. You can track the provenance in the blockchain. So all this enables trust. So you're moving the trust from a person or a central authority to a system. So what are the applications we could use blockchain for? So back in 2016, one of the things of blockchain, one of the initiatives by Smart Dubai was blockchain strategy. So blockchain strategy had three main pillars. One is government efficiency, where they want to completely transform and become paperless, so there's less friction in between different users of the government services. The second thing is industry creation. The government basically encourages the creation of different sectors in UAE. That is and enabling blockchain in banking, healthcare, transportation, urban planning sector. So, and the third is since Dubai is leading a role in implementing the blockchain tech, they want to share the best use cases of blockchain tech around the world. So they have a different initiative, like they have Future Blockchain Summit, which is one of the largest blockchain summit, where there are different exhibitors, thought leaders coming in and exchanging the best use case. And also they have Global Blockchain Council, which is around 42 different entities around the world. They share the best use case of the blockchain. So the mandate is that by 2021, minimum of 50% of the government service entities must use blockchain. So now, since we are a bit short of time, so I won't tell, there's so many blockchain projects, more than 30 projects, ongoing projects. I'm going to tell only 5 prominent projects if you have time. So the first project I'm going to talk about is Lost Passport project. It was made by the company Avanza, and basically 4 entities of the government: the Dubai Police, courts, public prosecution, and GDRFA. GDRFA is basically the government entity which implements basically the authority that issue visas. So since you know that 75 or around 70 to 80% of residents in UAE are expatriates, so the main document of identity is passport. So at this moment of time, if somebody loses passport, what happens is that they go to Dubai Police and file a report of missing passport. So Dubai Police gives a paper and asks them to go to court, which they have to stand in court in public prosecution. They have to go to GDRFA and go back to Dubai Police, so they can get a lost certificate. and then they go back to embassy, and embassy basically issues new passport. They go back to GRFA. So this is like a multi-step process. So the reason it's multi-step is that the government at the moment don't have any means to communicate with each other securely. So blockchain was recently implemented, and so the person has to go to the Dubai police and basically file a report of lost passport. Then they'll get right away. They'll get the lost certificate, and they go to embassy, and then they go to GDRFA to get new visa. So it moved. The process was reduced from a week to 1 day. So this is one of the mandates. It really fits in with one of the blockchain strategy government is trying to implement. The second project, which is one of the highlights, is donor health tech. Let me give you a background. In 1991, World Health Organization basically forbade organ sales. That means you cannot buy and sell organ. So which basically resulted in rise of demand of organs, because they're not organs readily available. There's a huge demand and less supply. According to our American Transplant Foundation, in states alone, every 10 minutes, one new person is added on the wait list, waiting for the transplant. And as a result, 20 people die every day in USA waiting for a transplant. So if you just in USA, a lot of people die around the world just to wait for the organ transplant. And this the lack of organs has resulted in black markets, and governments around the world are trying to find ways to basically decrease the waitlist time, at the same time tackle the organ trafficking. So one of the ways they do is that they have a registry where people who wants to pledge to donate the organs, if something happens to them or the loved one, they could pledge there. And if anything happens to them, so the hospital can basically broadcast to other hospitals that there's this organ like kidney or heart available. So what is this donor blockchain does is basically matches the DNA of the recipient who's waiting for the organ transplant to the donor. So it saves a lot of time and effort. This project was actually started by a 14-year-old kid. His name was Ryan Maherby. He was watching a Disney channel, and he saw one guy who was wearing a T-shirt asking for the organ, So he researched, he was moved by it, he researched, and he took action. He studied the problem the world is facing. And there was a hackathon organized by Ministry of Health in Dubai, and he presented. The minister was really moved, and he basically asked him, do you have any adult who's going to implement this project? And that's how his father came in, and they started this project, they funded it. And it's now at the moment it's out of proof of concept and implementing it. So as a result, World Economic Forum they basically selected donor as one of the blockchain projects to look out for. The third project I want to talk about is Verifax. Verifax basically does three things. It's a medicine delivery app which verifies the authenticity of medicines. And second thing it does is that it checks whether the medicine has been damaged or tampered. The third main thing is since UAE has very strict laws of controlled medicine are basically those medicines which if you take it, you have risk of getting addicted. So government regulates it. So the government has to ensure the right patient is receiving the prescribed medicine. So Verifax basically first authenticates it, the prescribed medicine. Then they have a special box, which is temperature controlled, and only the person can take the medicine. You have to know that many people cannot go to its pharmacy and pick up the medicine. So when the pharmacy delivers this medicine, they use the biometric like finger thumb or eye scan to get the medicine. This is now on the proof of concept, and it's going to be implemented soon because governments are basically asking to to prevent the opioid abuse. So our fourth project is Trade Connect project. It is basically a project started by Etisalat and 8 other banks. Etisalat is basically a telecom company, leading telecom company in the region. And their main aim is to digitize trade finance and processes and combat fraud. So what it does in one good thing about this is that it combats fraud in invoice discounting. If those people who don't know what is invoice discounting is, for example, if you're getting paid in 30 or 60 days, you go to bank and say that, please can you give me the cash so it can so you can get the cash flow and you can get the money and bank, and basically your customer pays the bank, and banks basically take small cut. So what is happening right now is people are using the same invoice and going different banks and taking out money. So and after taking out the money, they leave the country. The problem is so prevalent that a lot of banks lost money and they moved out of the SME sector because the fraud is costing them a lot of money. So they hired this company Avanza and they partnered with Etisalat, and they were implementing this. They already passed the proof of concept and they're going to launch in the mainnet. So what it does is that it's a system of AI, blockchain, and bots. Let me just show you where you upload the invoice, and what the AI does is that it checks for the invoice. So, because people don't put the same amount, it checks the logo, it checks the signature, and matches if the same invoice was issued to other banks. So it checks for duplicate invoicing and over invoicing. Over invoicing means if the same steel product is like $2, if the person mentions $10 in the other invoice, so it's a red flag. And also finds out whether the buyer and the seller are real. So it checks the website, it checks the tax number, and the social media, how long they have been there in the business, and then gives an overall score and also gives a score of different categories. So this uses blockchain to securely share the data between different banks without really revealing a lot of information of their customer. The main future aim is of this bank is basically to use this project for cross-border checking, which could immensely reduce the cost of doing business and giving out loans, which is the case right now. Our fifth project right now is UAE Vault. UAE Vault is basically a repository which stores the passport copies, national ID, and different identity credentials of a user, and where the organization, like different organizations, can seamlessly share with each other. So you don't have to repeatedly take your documents to, say, for example, is for getting a SIM card, then and opening a bank account. Now all you have to do is the service provider basically asks you whether it's okay to provide your documents to a third party, and once you say okay, which all the documents are basically stored in a file. Hash of the file is stored in the blockchain, and it's stored in IPFS. So securely stored. So if a service provider asks for identity, you can basically do two things. You can say which documents to show. At the same time, you could also tell until when to show and revoke the access. So this digital transformation has already been implemented federally all over the UAE, and this is enabling to save a lot of time and effort and energy. Also, it seamlessly gets along with the paperless initiative with Smart Dubai. So now it's the situation is such that you don't have to carry a passport to check. I mean, go through immigration. You could just use a finger print and move in and out of the airport. So what is the advantage of the UAE Vault? So UAE Vault, the user's perspective is that as you know, there is COVID-19. Like you can save your time and energy in traveling all the way to the government, and also you don't have to use paper. So another thing from the issues, those organizations which issues those identity, they don't have to give physical ID. They can provide a digital ID. So all this has resulted in as a result of all the projects. They're estimating that they're going to save up to $3 billion in the paperless strategy. So just to give an idea, the tallest building in the world, Burj Khalifa, cost like $1.5 billion. So the savings is up to 2 buildings. So also it helps to reduce greenhouse gases, and the good thing is that by 2020, as a result, 14 Dubai entities basically cut their paper consumption by 64%. So we are on track to meet the objective. And Dubai was recently awarded the first Smart City on Blockchain Award in person and Expo. So I have a couple of minutes left. So I want to tell. So these are the many projects here, from say logistics to banking to finance. There are many projects. They're being implemented, exciting projects, which you can find in our website. So we have the founding father, Scott Stroneda, coming in. The Satoshi white paper has 8 references. 3 of the references were used by Scott Stroneda. So he's coming on 30th May. If you're interested, just type, just follow the link. And we look forward to seeing you. And if you have any questions, please let me know. How many minutes do you have?
Yes, we can ask you just one question because we have only 1 minute left.
Okay. So who will ask a question?
Actually, we have the viewers. Yeah, there is no question from that side because here waiting or the next speaker. Thanks a lot. Just please unshare your screen. Just show up your face, and we are going out on the YouTube channel at this moment. Yes, thanks a lot.
Yeah. So
thanks for your amazing speech.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Okay, so, I want to say
thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Sergey.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, now we go on the stream. Steve, it's your turn. Okay, wait a second, please. Are you ready?
Yep. Hi.
Just please turn your camera a little bit down. Is it possible? Wow, yeah, it's the best way. Okay, wait a second, please.
Sure.
Okay, good. Now we are live on Facebook, we are on air, and our next speaker is Steve Kezo. The word is yours.
Hi, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Stephen Kelso, and I'm head of capital markets at ITI Capital. ITI is a multi-asset investment bank focused on emerging markets. We have about 200 people in 5 countries. We believe that digital assets are more relevant to more people in emerging markets than they are to many in developed markets. We believe that digital assets are an extension of the emerging markets investment phenomenon, which is essentially characterized by less efficient capital flows. At ITI, we consider digital assets as just another asset class. ITI specializes in fixed income, commodity, and equity finance, derivatives and structured products, DMA and electronic access to many emerging and developed markets and exchanges. Our digital asset trading business platform combines one of the biggest OTC crypto players in several emerging markets with a long-standing prime broker in traditional assets. And we would, of course, be delighted to hear from anyone looking to trade. What I'm going to talk about is our view on the multi-asset allocation we expect to see into digital assets for the post-COVID stage of the investment cycle. So first of all, what is multi-asset? Multi-asset investing has come to dominate traditional asset management since the great financial crisis. When rates were slashed during the zero and negative interest rate policy regimes, the bonds alone no longer sufficed to meet the liabilities of investors. Hence, investors were forced up the risk curve in increasing amounts into other asset classes beyond bonds. The GFC and the ensuing global policy responses radically changed the accepted risk-reward characteristics within asset classes and the dynamics of the relationships between asset classes. So, for example, equities became the go-to asset class for income, previously garnered from bond coupons, whilst bonds traded on negative yields in the anticipation only of capital growth, previously accessed via growth equities. Now, the first rule of risk management is diversification. Balanced funds had gained traction as long ago as the 1960s, with a static allocation of typically 60% to bonds, which were considered safe, and 40% allocation to equities, which were considered then higher risk growth assets. The sharp contraction in bond yields following the GFC drove a rapid evolution and expansion of multi-asset investing across a large array of constructs and strategies. Previously the domain of the hedge fund multi-strategy vehicles, global tactical asset allocation giants delivered much more sophisticated investment portfolios to retail and pension funds. Now, the significance of the UK market is pronounced. So the UK asset management industry is the second largest after the US at about £9 trillion. The UK represents about 37% of the European total. At the end of December 2017, it was bigger than France, Germany, and Switzerland put together. Institutional clients account for about 80% still, with pension funds being about 45% of the total AUM. And about 70 to 75% of the assets are still actively managed, down from 85% 10 years ago as passive investing and smart beta funds continue to gain ground globally. There are about 1,850 authorized investment firms in the UK, and the top 10 manage over 50% of the total assets. And these are all multi-asset managers. Also significant about the London market is that about 40% of the assets under management are managed for international investors. And London has been the main portal for capital flows between emerging markets and developed markets for 300 years. It's a similar story for Switzerland, and it's no coincidence why they have emerged as the two crypto capitals of Europe, London and particularly the Zug-Zurich area. The impact of the COVID and the whole pandemic on the economy and markets has obviously been brutal. US and European markets initially considered corona to be localized in China and Asia, and for the most part assumed it would pass like SARS. Then, of course, things took a sharp turn for the worse in March, compounded, of course, by the price war in oil, and the rest is history. 9.4% of companies in Spain went bankrupt in March alone, and economists and strategies now refer to this as the Great Corona Recession, the GCR. Back in the GFC, it took years for policymakers to debate and agree their choice of and use of weapons, such as quantitative easing, against the moral hazard of bailing out the banks. Back then, the US led the way, and very quickly the markets learned not to fight the Fed as the S&P bottomed 6 months after Lehman collapsed in March 2009, and it rarely looked back. Today, policymakers can't help with the short-term to medium-term effects of social distancing, but they can seek to mitigate the household and corporate distress by providing a bridge for the economy. Again, the US has led the way. Congress approved massive stimulus whilst the Fed has slashed rates again with huge liquidity injections and unlimited quantitative easing to ease lending. Japan has announced combined monetary and fiscal stimulus totaling a massive 40% of GDP. And Europe's recovery fund, tabled at $500 billion, is being well received thus far. But household name companies are failing all over the world. Society now has a strengthening voice on issues of social responsibility and corporate tax avoidance. There are growing calls that governments and private sector need to work more closely together. Investment managers are dealing with the fastest bear market ever and need simple, transparent products to help them manage the risks of liquidity, leverage, and volatility. And this is where Bitcoin comes in. The tip of the spear of the multi-asset movement are the US endowment funds, led by the likes of David Swensen at Yale, who has pioneered the application of modern portfolio theory over his 35-year tenure. MIT, Harvard, and other endowments have all adopted the modern portfolio theory approach that Markowitz won his Nobel Prize for. These endowments announced that they had begun investing in digital assets 2 years ago, long before the GCR. The attraction was less the fear of missing out, but more the sober benefit of increased diversification from another asset class that was not totally correlated to gold, let alone equities, fixed income, commercial real estate, and the other asset classes. The definition of Bitcoin as digital gold is maturing today as the debate about its price drivers evolves. Gold investors point out that whilst Bitcoin resembles gold on the supply side, the demand side is very different, arguing that the value lies more in the network defining Bitcoin. Nonetheless, there is growing acceptance in the scarcity value that Bitcoin represents. At times like this, multi-asset managers are very much looking to their portfolio diversifiers to shore up performance of their funds. The 30% bounce in the S&P and similar rebounds in other asset classes from the March lows have put increased pressure on multi-asset managers to figure out quickly at what point they start to add risk again. All of this is happening at a much accelerated rate to the GFC, when investment and governance committees had much more time to pause and think. One of the most significant developments towards the institutional adoption of digital assets is, of course, Paul Tudor Jones' announcement that he has invested his fund in Bitcoin futures. It has been no secret that Tudor Jones and other successful macro managers have been personally invested in digital assets for years. But the groundbreaking development is that his firm has taken the non-trivial steps of navigating the internal and external processes required with stakeholders and investors and decided that the risk-reward opportunity makes sense now. Under the title of The Great Monetary Inflation, Tudor's letter to investors this month sets out in detail his thesis for Bitcoin, as COVID-19 is a one-of-a-kind virus, he says, that has triggered a one-of-a-kind policy response globally. Tudor draws parallels with the rise and fall and subsequent takeoff of gold back in the late 70s, when access had just been opened up via the futures market. Tudor's loud and proud approach has both de-risked the personal career choice for traditional investment managers and made the case very clearly for attention to be paid to the potential onset of inflation that's on the horizon. When Bitcoin collapsed in March, skeptics were quick to question the safe haven status. However, remember that gold also fell 30% during the GFC from $1,000 to $700 before going on to nearly triple at $1,900. Morgan Stanley's chief economist has taken a very bold position, claiming that inflation will make a comeback again in this investment cycle after 30 years. He states that the aggressive, coordinated expansion of monetary and fiscal policy will be reflationary, And Morgan Stanley see a high risk that policymakers will prolong this response and also disrupt the structural disinflationary forces of the last 30 years, which they refer to as the 3 Ts of big tech, trade, and industry titans dominating their sectors. Morgan Stanley called that inflationary pressures will emerge from 2022, preceded by growing concerns about the global economic outlook. So in summary, at ITI, we see a growing interest from sophisticated investors and institutional clients starting to build positions in digital assets, particularly Bitcoin, in dollars, but also in euro and sterling. These are sophisticated investors who, many of whom were buying gold in euros and sterling, which was a hedge fund favorite trade during the GFC and also the European crisis of 2012. There are growing expectations for Bitcoin to continue showing a similar path at this juncture. However, not just sophisticated hedge funds, family offices, but the largest multi-asset managers are also now increasingly paying attention. Alpima, which is a research consultant to several household name asset managers, has powerful research on the performance benefits from allocating a modest low-digit percentage of Bitcoin to a range of multi-asset portfolios of varying complexity. So we think with career risk reduced, inflation risks increased, access improved to the asset class, and an asset, very importantly, that has such high octane upside potential without leverage, we believe that we will see a sharp increase in the adoption of digital assets led by Bitcoin by multi-asset managers. Thank you for your time.
Steve, you have a couple of minutes maybe for one of the questions from our audience. Yes,
sure.
Thank you for your great speech. Yes, I have to check it out. Just wait a second, please. It's not so easy for me. I'm sorry. Yes, a lot of
problem.
pages. Yeah. Talked about multi-asset allocation. How do you see how it's going to be used after this COVID? What's happening? What's going to be changed? Because blockchain industry, it already appears much more than 5 to 6 years. I'm talking about smart contracts. I'm talking about Ethereum platform. What's going to be changed?
On the multi-asset side, I think Bitcoin is very clearly going to dominate with the big multi-asset managers because of this inflation. I hesitate to use the word hedge, but certainly a diversifier that is not 100% correlated to gold. So I think that is clearly what led to those endowments entering the space 2 years ago. And I think now more of the multi-asset community is getting that same message. You mentioned smart contracts and other digital assets, though. And again, one of the big dynamics that is coming out of the market's reaction, and obviously this 30% higher knee jerk we've seen in the S&P, but right across risk assets, is that actually the primary market has been very strong. So of course now with so many companies and any sector you care to mention distressed and in need of a lifeline, these companies are in very, if they're not in dire need to raise money, they certainly have CFOs who are experienced enough to know that they should be raising money when they can. And again, I think of the 3 chessboards in digital assets, the one that has actually moved the most for me in terms of an expectation of success in sort of short to medium term is that of tokenization. And I can see a growing number of certainly the sell side investment bank community, who of course, to whom securitization has been their bread and butter for decades. I can see now a lot of these people realizing that we're not talking about revolutionary digital assets here. We're talking about an evolution to, one of the mainstays of finance for the last 40, 50 years, right? So I can see that a lot of these people will start to appreciate, rather than costing, say, $500,000 to list their equity to IPO, suddenly now actually it's a fraction of that. And furthermore, even 12 months ago, certainly 15 months ago, I had not come across a platform that I could put my hand on heart and say, wow, okay, I really believe that, this can now work. And actually that is changing rapidly. And I think now there's clearly a race to the line in different jurisdictions about who's going to be first to that. So I think this dawn of the digital asset era is absolutely upon us as well. But I don't believe that those will be the first assets necessarily to be included by the big multi-asset managers.
Okay, sure. Steve, thank you for your time. Thank you for your great speech. I really appreciate it. What's your mind thoughts? Yes, now we have to go out of our on-air channel and have to go forward to our next speaker. Steve, once more time, thanks a lot for you, and see you a bit later, or maybe on another conferences as well.
Been a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Okay, now we off. voice. You have good look.
You. Yeah, thank you.
Everything is perfect.
Apart from the timing.
Yeah. We have missed 5 minutes, but it's okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, finally, we are on air today with us. Wait a second, I have to introduce you the best way. Today with us is Giacomo Arcano. He is growth hacker of blockchain, and we are going to talk about low touch economy today. The word is yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, guys, and I'm really happy to be with you guys. It's a long time I don't see you. Maybe the last time was in blockchain Russia. I don't know.
Yes.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a nice party. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the low touch economy, the so-called low touch economy. That's because it's not strictly connected to the blockchain world. It's more connecting to the digital world, especially today that Zoom has been capitalized more than General Motors. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, because the COVID-19 has shaped our life, during the health crisis. But what the most of us hasn't understood yet is that once the health crisis will be finished, the COVID-19 will shape forever the way we eat, the way we work, the way we take care about our body, the way we manage our health, and the way we go to school, everything. So if we prepare ourselves to these changes, we'll be rich. I don't know. I know that it's not about money, but we are here. Everyone is here for that. So
explain how to do that to get rich. Everybody on there. Yes, it's very interesting.
Yeah. We want to change the world, but you cannot change the world if you have not the to pay the tickets for the flight. So yes. Anyway, if we understand how the world will be shaped by COVID-19, we can skyrocket your business. We can manage our new investments, and we can get up the most about our investments. So let me go ahead with the topic. It's about 10 shifts in this economy that will change us forever. And it's there will be more anxious and lonely people. Just considering the older ones, there will be also the damaged trust in the hygiene. There will be the travel restrictions. I flew from London to Italy. It took 4 hours of checkpoint fever. It's been really hard. Optimizing work from home, we'll see that later, and other shifts we're going to analyze right now. So let me go ahead with the first one I mentioned, which is the anxiousness and loneliness. So there's an application like BetterHelp on the app that helps you to find the perfect consultant for your pathology. It's a psychiatrist and psychologist. Before the app, and before the COVID, you used to go to the psychologist next to your house, maybe 10 kilometers to not be spotted by others in the waiting room. But right now, you can select the specific psychologist for your specific pathology online with a cost reduction, because you no longer have to take the car, you no longer have to be stuck in traffic, you no longer have to book like a week earlier. You just select the best one. If you have a pathology, I don't know, with any kind of disease, you can select your perfect therapist. And this app existed before the COVID, but right now has exploited. And everyone has noticed that you no longer have to have a person in front of you. Yes, it's better. So with Sergey, we have a lot of drinks together. We cannot have a drink right now, but it will be a leisure to have a psychologist in front of you and speak with her in front of you. I mean, in personally. So if you have a low budget, you can always select this option. And the more anxious people, the more lonely people will skyrocket these kind of businesses, and the coachings as well, and also the game. I play Call of Duty like everyone does, I think, and 50 million of people connect to servers has exploited. So that's why, if you have to decide whether to go with your friend to drink some beers or stay home to play Call of Duty, you need to put the mask. There's a waiting room. The waiting line it's really long time. So you prefer to stay home and play a Call of Duty. I know it's weird, and now in this particular period with the health crisis, it's been augmented. So will decrease in the next months, but it will stay here with us for a long time, this fear to go out. So, and the second thing is damaging trust and hygiene, and this problem will create new business, like a new way to pack the things. I don't know if you ever noticed that when you buy something in the pharmacy, there's a strange packaging that doesn't allow even the worker to touch inside the packaging, and not even you to touch with your hands. So also some food in London with Deliveroo are made like that, and there's a specially company that building packaging like that. And also in China, the Chinese Deliveroo will show you the rider with the with kind of if with a bike or with the motorcycle, and the temperature. Yes, because if you see that the temperature is higher than normal, you will not charge it if you refuse to be the package to be delivered by that driver.
It's already exists in China.
Already exists.
Wow.
I don't remember the app. I will share with you maybe later, so I will comment on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this is going to happen because if you don't want to be contaminated, so China are using those kind of methods. Also, the every time someone finish to eat, the table must be cleaned, but the price of the dinner still the same. So who lost? The restaurant owner. So it's going to be crazy for this kind of business. The other thing is the extended travel restriction. So people like us that was used to take like one flight every 2 to 3 days, to be stuck in their home and in their city for a long period of time, it's kind of crazy. But I just took a couple of flights, and from London to Shanghai, it cost $6,000. I don't know if it's changed in the last week, but it's like $6,000 for economy class for a one way. I know it's crazy. It will decrease. Will decrease, but it took like 4 hours for the checkpoint. A lot of people is involved in security, so that's why people will start to travel inside his country. That's why I'm here in my grandparents' old house, 200 years old house. Look, I just placed the TV here, but it's like it's like with the ancient paints and stuff like that, because I'm stuck in here. But next week I will go to visit Rome. I will stay in my country and visit my country, and it's not only me, even my partner Giovanni and Eloisa will travel with me all the way to Italy, because we cannot get out from the country. So the new luxury escapes will be the rural ones. So in the campaign, and I'm here in a wonderful place with the vines, wine, and it's wonderful. So I started to appreciate the beauty of my city, of my country. So it's been really cool. And yes, so the new luxurious case will not be the Seoul or Singapore in the Dubai or Dubai Marina, but will be your country. I mean, I think for the next 6 months will be like that. And so we need to consider that if you have a business that involves the travel. So, and another thing, it's the business of working home business, the remote business. So I haven't.
Our business. Our business is not go to the events. Our business is go to the through this Zoom. Yeah, I don't know why, how it's happening, but it's already happens. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really unbelievable what will happen. So I bought like $2,000 of stuffs, like lights. So I have these lights. So I just turn off and my face just went.
The same
Yeah,
story.
it's like
Yeah.
the same story. So I haven't the green screen, but if I turn off the lights, it changes everything. So
Yeah.
I also bought a microphone with condensation and all the just to set up my office right here. So it changed everything. I need to buy the insonorization panels and stuff like that. Yes, because it's really important when you have a call that the on the other end the people clearly hear you, clearly see you, to listen to your voice and with no buzz, no popping. So this business has changed. In Amazon, everything is out of stock. So the special equipment, video, audio, and so we will save some money in luggages and spend more on by recreating a studio in every house we have around the world. So also internet in Italy is a problem because I had to put the antennas and parabolics. I don't know how it was called, but the paddles on the to take the internet directly from the satellite. So it's kind of
actually,
crazy.
it happens, but now you have very perfect connection.
Oh, good. Good,
Yeah.
good.
No, it's cool. Yes, it's really.
Yeah. Okay.
No interruption.
Good. So we are recreating the office and home. It's both ways, cool and bad. It's cool because now we have more time for us. Will not be stuck in the traffic. We can stay home with our pets, with our childrens. And just a friend of mine working in Armani, Giorgio Armani company. Said me, Giacomo, you were right. The crisis has finished, so we can get back to work. But no one of the workers, after have experienced the remote working, wants to get back to work again in office in Milan. So I think that they will cut the wages, they will cut the salary, even the 30%. But to these people, they don't care about that. They want to stay home with their pets, working from home, having more time for themselves. And if they have more time for themselves, they will take care of about their body. I just bought some products from Aesop for eliminate the black circles and the wrinkles. So because I had time to do that. If you travel, you have no time to do that kind of things. But you have to consider all the things that will involve the COVID-19 revolution.
Giacomo, please try to go to finish because we are running out.
Yeah. It's finished. So there will be unprecedented level of unemployment in America, of course. But fortunately, we have the chance for the digital to take over. Finally, people understood that the digital is the next big thing. But more than that, the cryptocurrency and the blockchain finally will find their space in this world. That's why every one of us are happy. We're passing from Audi to Ferrari, from Ferrari to Koenigsegg. So we are every one of us is happy. So I suggest you to follow us and to follow Sergey with all these stuff to be updated on what will happen.
Yeah, for sure. Key, the digital is the key now to stay connected and just don't go away. Yes, I'm very happy to see you. Now our conversation is over. guys, please, I have to go out from the air now from YouTube. Yes, nice to meet you. Nice to. I'm very happy to meet you here. Just see you again a little bit later, maybe. Yes.
Bye.
Go forward. Bye.
Bye.
Al Evers, yes. Testing, and our guest today is Al Evers. He is managing partner as Portrero Capital, and he's talking about raising capital in a panic. The word goes to your side. Just go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And yeah, obviously, we're in a strange new world. But if we look historically at things, obviously, it's a once in a century pandemic, but the fallout financially is a panic, which if you look back, there's probably been about 5 serious panics in the last 200 years, and the economy miraculously healed itself after some years, right? So it may be a little bit scary in the beginning, and so what I want to just reach out to people and tell them, look, it's a panic, calm down, and things will go back to normal. Can I share my screen now, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. You have the chances to shoot.
All right, okay, so let me go.
Go ahead.
Hang on.
In Zoom, on the button.
Okay, here we go.
Yes, it works. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Raising capital in a panic. It's a very good topic. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Because we are all in panic and we can't find a way how to engage the money. Really.
Yes, exactly. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so the start screen I have is, this is I don't even think this newspaper exists anymore, the Brooklyn Daily Eagle and Long Island News. And then this is from Thursday, October, I think it's 24th in 29. Wall Street in panic as stocks crash. But it's just interesting to look at some of the other, assassins trying to assassinate the Crown Prince of Italy. And then, just all of the, stocks crash, rush to sell, buildings lost, and so on. So, we've been here before, obviously. And then, just the dictionary word for panic: sudden uncontrollable fear or anxiety, often causing wildly unthinking behavior, which, if you look at what's happened in the last several months, it's a classic hallmark of a panic, right? And we go to, one of the, I think, hallmarks of this particular panic was Bill Ackman, was one of the big hedge fund guys who went on CNBC and was crying, the crocodile tears about, all hell's coming, breaking loose. At the same time, he was shorting the market. So obviously, just like, there's a segment of the economy that makes money in bear markets and some make money in bull markets. So obviously, there are certain people that, desire to have a panic because, they've made bets like that.
We don't see another slide. We're just on the page 1. Is it correct?
Yeah. Well, no, it should be the 3rd slide. So you're just on page 1? Oh, hold on.
Yes, I see only page 1. That's why.
Hold on.
Try to change it.
Yeah, hold on.
It's not working. You can unshare the screen and share it again back.
Okay. All right. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Stop. I'll say stop share. And then
yes, it's stop. Yes, now it works.
Oh, okay. Now you see the okay. What about hold on. You see it now?
Yes, yes. Hell is coming.
Yes. So that's the third one. Okay. All right. And then just to kind of go back historically, right? Because a lot of people, they don't look at things from historical context. It's just, this year, next year, and last year, right? And maybe you might go back a few more years, but there's been 47 recessions since the founding of the United States. Basically, the economy crumbles and it rebuilds itself with astonishing regularity. But the real big panics led to kind of depressions. There's one in 1819. There's 1837, and then 1873 was quite interesting because at that time there was a U.S. central bank. Obviously, the U.S. is on the Federal Reserve System, but there is the Bank of the United States. So the Panic of 1873 led to the dissolution of our first central bank. And we were without central banks for over 100 years. Basically, individual banks printed their own currencies. And we had about 300 different currencies circulated in the United States until the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1907.
Yeah.
So here are some panic rules I just wanted to share with people in terms of capital raise. You should always have about 12 months runway, and then that's in or out of panic. So if you come into a situation like now, you have enough runway, and I always say to entrepreneurs that are raising capital is the best time to raise capital is when you don't need it. So as soon as you finish a round, you want to reach out to your investors and say, look, I'm not raising capital now, but in about 12 months or 18 months, I'd like to come back and talk to you. That way you're fresh in their mind and you're not a new introduction. So when you actually ask for capital, they'll feel more comfortable because they'll have known you for a year or maybe 6 months. But that's the best remedy. And most of the successful capital raise that we see, they follow that trajectory. You also want to cast a wider net of potential investors. That includes not just traditional venture. You want to be speaking to family offices. You also want to be speaking with corporate investors. A good place to go is you go to a demo day like YC or like 500 Startups, and you just mingle. You just go around, you talk to people. You said, look, I'm not raising money now, but I'd like to raise some down the road. And you also want to include international investors. If I look back 20 years ago when I was raising capital as an entrepreneur, there was only one place to go. It was Sand Hill Road. And now you have venture clusters all over the world. And you may find some investors, they're interested in your geography and they may want to invest in you. So you want to cast a wider net and include international investors. And then, so in terms of fundraising, so we've raised capital for not just entrepreneurs, but the VC and private equity funds. And on average, those big funds that are bringing in, $1 billion, the fund manager, he manages a set of outside fundraisers, and they're all bringing deals to the table. They're bringing potential investors in. So, for a $1 billion fund, the portfolio manager, he'll probably speak to 1,000 investors, and out of the 1,000 investors, 40 or 50 might be interested, and he might end up with 20 LPs. Relax, breathe deeply, plan your summer holidays, you reach out to investors, and you tell them, hey, have a great summer, and let's connect after the holidays. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Very great speech. Very interesting. And actually, I have one question. Why you think that we have to spend at least 12 months till end of this pandemic, till end of this, not pandemic. It's not a pandemic. It's panic. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Why 12 months? Maybe it's been earlier in earlier years, and now the situation has been changed.
Well, no. Well, so I say you bring 12 months, you have room, because you can get a deal done within 30 days, but to be safe, you want to have a 12-month runway just in case there's some hiccups down the road. It's just your prudent timing. But deals are getting done. One of the beautiful things about the pandemic, which no one foresaw, was that investors are investing over Zoom. That didn't happen before. You had to fly to the investors several times, meet them, waste a lot of time, and now investors are making deals. And I think Sequoia Capital, who's the gold standard, they said within the last last 2 months, they've done about 12 deals all on Zoom.
Because that capitals can't give us money via online. They have to give us the cash. And now we can live cashless. That's why it can be happen.
That's right. And the investors, they have to spend that money because they live off the carry. So if you have $100 million fund, you're doing 3 and 20, you're getting $3 million a year. If you don't spend that money, you don't get the 3%. So they have to spend that money. So before, they would put you through the hoops of coming to meet them, going out. But now, because of COVID, they're getting straight to the point.
Okay. Al, thank you. My pleasure to having you today. Yes, it's really respectful speech. Very interesting about panic, how our panic spread around the globe at this moment nowadays. Yes, I have to say you goodbye. Nice to meet you here. Yes, now we're going forward for startup.
Thank you. Let me show you my view. This is from.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm at the castle Burg Lichtenfels in northern Hessen in Germany.
Wow.
This is where I started my first company.
Yeah. Good. Now I'm go on from the
perfect
streaming. Yes.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
See you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Great, I see Tina here.
Yes, all the people here are hearing you. Now, couple of seconds, and all of you are live. Now go ahead. Lisa, word is goes to your side. You're the moderator of this startup pitch. The word is yours.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for participating in this pitch session. Today we are going to have 8 pitches devoted to blockchain. And we will start with FIO, represented by George Chu. Welcome, George.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Great.
Good. So, do you want with the PPT? Will be all right?
Sure.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Let me make it like a full screen. Okay. So let's get started with FIO. Okay. So FIO right now, okay, FIO is a simple toolbox with AI as a SaaS services. Okay. So for any blockchain commercialization deployment with data intelligence, artificial intelligence. So what happened is that we have implemented about 18 simple clients across 10 industries and 3 countries, and we have 4 in pipeline right now, which is related to the supply chain finance in Taiwan. We have developed, and also a jewelry authentication company in Hong Kong and India. So right now we have about a community of about 100 free developers, which they create the 300. They create some of the modules and some of creations, and their creation was being adopted by our customers. They get a revenue sharings. And our most recent accomplishment in the past 3 to 4 months is the coronavirus mask system 1.0 in Taiwan, which we have about 23 million people in usage. Okay, and also we created a blockchain-based fake news authenticate fake news terminator on the blockchain called TrueSign. So talking about the cases, I'm giving the cases again, which is like the traceability use cases, Dachen. Okay, so what we did for the customer, basically we combined the IoT solution with the blockchain for the aquaculture productive process, also the cold chain delivery information on blockchain, and we connected to the SAP with the field smart contract to traceability and optimization for the farming and the processing. So what we have achieved for the client is that we digitalized all internal farming management, which is never done in proper digitalization, but also we improved the internal management. And we just about to finish within about a few weeks, and we estimate that it's likely going to save about production cost about 20 million yuan per year for the first year. Okay, and the second cases is like the cases I referred to in the morning about the Z-Team, the world famous esports player, okay, in China. So what we did with them was enable the authenticated copyright sales, and also we enable the secondary market, whereas the Z-Team, the company, can trace all around the world who's buying it, who's using it, and what we have accomplished for a client, because all the parties now can get fair profits thanks to how transparent the blockchain is. And also we increase the circulation of copyrights that can be traceable and also be authenticated. And the most importantly, we increase the potential copy sale right on small IPs, on the small items, with a sale increase of over estimation about 50% for the first year. So the whole field, the SaaS tool platform, is under a plug and play frameworks. Okay, so it's like a Lego play. We have a modules, and you use module to do the creations, and with the creations, then you make into a templated solutions, so that any businesses, if they want to use blockchain solutions with proper adaptation to IoT or AIs, they can just use it in a very codeless or no code situations. So that's why what we do is that we help the companies or anyone want to get into the blockchain or being digitalized with the blockchains, is that we digital transformation with AZ block. Then we do the digital creation with modules, and then at the end of the day, digital solution is being used by people. So this is the very simple interfaces which you can try on the alpha.fio.1. That's the simple interfaces that you can get your digitalization on the blockchains through Excel sheet or Google spreadsheet, as simple as that. Of course, there's an API connection and also SDK versions for expert developers. So that's our product roadmap. Right now, we have already on the Q3 schedules, but we only have about 120 independent developer right now, but our modules is around 300 already. So by the end of this year, after the adjustment for the COVID-19 situation, we are looking for at least about 40 enterprises using the field solutions. And also we are looking for a community of 6,420 modules. And hopefully everything turn back to normal and we can start to accelerate after Q1 next year. So we are determined to have a large scaling by adaptation by 2022. Okay. So our business model is very simple, straightforward, subscription fee like any SaaS services, pay as you go. And also module add-on services, it depends on number of modules you add on, and each one of them, it depends where you are classified as enterprises or small media enterprises, or you classify Soho or developers. And at the end of the day, because of all the data flow, everything, and also we provide the AI intelligence-based advertising analytics for people to find the business opportunities. So we are looking for about 1.2 million revenue this year, hopefully. But the next year will be the biggest strike for the companies. So that's Phil. Thank you. Yep. Lisa, thank you. Oh, you are muted.
Thank you so much. Sorry. Thank you, George. And today we also, I forgot to mention that we have a beautiful jury represented by Christina and Tina today. Hello. And excuse me, I cannot hear you. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Christina. Hello, Tina. Do you have any questions to George?
I do not at this time.
I just want to know how you were getting your customers.
Oh, okay. So what we did is that, of course, we go door to door, but we identify the customers, who fit into 3 criteria. Okay. Traceability. They need a solution for traceability or tracking, or they need the solution for authentication or certification, or they need the solutions for liquidities, okay, or data digitalization. So then we go find, for example, the Dutch companies for the egg processing or egg production, and also the poultry farmings, they don't have anything digitalized. So that's why we go in there, we provide a Google form solutions, straightforward, so that they get at the very regional information, which you used to done everything by pen and papers. They do just on the cell phone in a Google form, done. So the information be digitalized and then onto the blockchain for verifications and linked all the way back to the SAP system. Yeah, for internal management. So that is why we have and also we get into a number of incubator in Taiwan or around the world, so that we looking for a company to work with, and they also bring a client to us. For example, we are working with 3 IoT companies in Taiwan, which the IoT company in Taiwan, they are not very good at software, but they are very good at hardware. So that's our plus, because we are a software company. So basically we combine a solution, we white label them and bring us, and then we create our several clients. So that's how we do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Okay.
Let's move to the next one. Nikolai Shkilev will represent us Zelvin project, please.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikolai Shkilev. Today I will present to you my new big project. It's just a second. I will show to you. Just a second. Okay. It's Zelvin, global marketplace of goods, where we combine digital assets and e-commerce market together. You can buy any goods by fiat money or crypto online. And we understand that now with COVID-19 craze, online trading will grow faster and faster with each passing year, and crypto too. That's why we decided to connect these two growing markets together. And you can see, just a second, in May, we already listing on CoinsBit exchange, on BitForex exchange in top 20 exchanges. And tomorrow we will listing on Probit in Korea. These exchanges valued our project and digital assets at $150 or $300 million at the time of listing, and they're confident that capitalization can be increased to $1 billion this year. Price per one token Zelvin in listing started from $1, but now on CoinMarketCap our price more than $2. It means that early investors received more than 100% of ROI, return of investments. And if you will see our preference, we have a ready-made product. Everything is working. 11 teams are working on this powerful project. It's developers, designers, programmers, a lot of big teams. We fully financed project. We did everything using our own money. We don't ask money before our launch. We have a clear business model with no less than 4 monetization methods. We have a mass adoption because we understand that online trading is growing very fast. For example, in 2008, all online trading was in the world only $144 billion. Now it's more than $3.5 trillion. Let's speak about our monetization methods. For example, we have traditional way of monetization. We receive money from buyers and commission from merchant sellers. Our second way of monetization, we have exchange right away. You can change crypto to fiat, change fiat to crypto, buy, send to Visa, to MasterCard. It's really very easy for everyone in one click. Number 3, we have Zelvin tokens. As I told you before, we don't give any tokens to anyone for free. We don't do any airdrops, bounty programs. You can only buy our tokens or receive these tokens after you buy something on our marketplace. Also, we have a very powerful affiliate program where everyone can earn with us. People can invite sellers and receive percent commission from all their sales. People can invite buyers and receive 20% of cashback from them. It's profitable for buyers to use a referral link of those people because then their cashback is doubled. Also, we have special packages, partner packages. People can buy it and receive up to 30%. That's why it's not only win-win strategy. We're growing very fast. Only for these months, we have dozens, thousands people from many countries. We have a big community now only in Telegram in Brazil, Italy, Indonesia, Malaysia, Korea, Japan, in many countries, and we're growing very fast. We have a good trading volume. We have more than 600 partnership only for 1 month. We have 1,000 goods, and every day more goods coming to our marketplace, because it's global marketplace from many countries, from Germany, from Asia, from Russia, from USA, and with worldwide delivery. Also, it's our goals. You can see we want to aim for $1 billion in 2020 by CoinMarketCap, and want to expand our community to 10 million in this year. We want to invite 1,000 online stores in this year, but for 1 month we have only for 1 month more than 600 stores. Maybe we will have more big results in 2020. And we invite all active people, sellers, exchanges, media, bloggers, and partnerships. Also, just a second. You can see recommendation about our project from very famous people in blockchain. You can read, you can ask them, and you can see press about us in Forbes China, the American Reporter, in Hacker Noon. For example, in Hacker Noon, we was second place. It's one of the best promising blockchain project in 2020 in Digital Journal and many more. Sorry. And I invite all of you in our project. Let's work together, make money with us, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Nikolai. Thank you so much. That was great presentation. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, this is Tina. I have a quick question. It seems like you've done a lot of work so far, and you're focused on growth, but is there a next after the growth? I mean, is there additional product line, or is it global, even further global expansion? I mean, I'm not clear what your end game is here, so to speak. Is it simply growth of the existing product, or expansion, or what?
It's a very good question. Yes, we want to grow in many countries. Now we're building a big community in many countries. As I told before, now we have our offices in 20 countries, and our community in each country is growing. It's our main target. Also, we want to be, maybe it's I don't know how to say it, but we want to be in top 20 coins, tokens in 2020, in top 20. I think we can do it because we have a clear business model. It's ready-made product, and I think we can do it. Maybe do you know, because 99% of projects don't have a product, don't have a mass adoption, don't have a clear business model. We have all of this. And we will spend a lot of money for advertisement in YouTube, in social media, everywhere. And I hope we will grow in day by day. And maybe after a few years, we will be like a giant. I hope for it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next project is Steeps, represented by Nikita Kutsenko and Dmitry Katyegov.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Nikita.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, for sure. Go ahead. If you've been somehow muted, I will tell you. It's okay.
Awesome, guy. Thank you. Let me please share my screen. Yes, our presentation. So my name is Niki. I'm co-founder and chief marketing officer at Steeps FinTech. Here you can also see our partners. They are with me at the moment, Vasily and Dmitry. These guys have a huge experience in the traditional financial markets. They both have asset under management more than $300 million. And for 2 years, we together with them has been actively developing the project in the blockchain and cryptocurrency industry. And we help thousands of traders to make the high performance investment and trading decisions. Our main business achievements at the moment presented on this slide, and the most interesting ones I would like to mention. First of all, our proud is that our team won a grant from IBM Ventures, and we signed a partnership agreement with IBM in 2019. Our current users database is 10,000 registered users. We also received $500,000 at the pre-seed stage on development from one of our business angels. Today, as you know, about 15 million active cryptocurrency traders in the world. And to tell the truth, none of them have any idea where the prices will go. All 15 million traders look at the same price charts and try to understand the prospects of this project. And all these charts can be like this, or for example, can be like this. Crypto companies barely make money except for some exchanges and most futuristic projects, and frankly don't have a finished product at all. The only question is who can become the next Amazon or Apple in the crypto world and crypto industry, who win their market share not only among other crypto projects, but also among their non-blockchain competitors. Crypto token prices can change significantly per day in percentage terms, even as a result of minor news. Which news? For example, when Tron founder Justin Sons had a lunch with Warren Buffett and its next cancellation. To understand all price movements, traders need to be equipped with the best tools to analyze the market, and they will have to get news. The best option is to use something that can combine everything you need to make trading decisions. And our team created such a platform that combines all available sources of information about crypto world and crypto project, which can fundamentally affect the price movement of the tokens. And I present you Steep's Oculus. It's a unique platform for analyzing cryptocurrencies, which really forecasts the future prices of Bitcoin and top altcoins based on 5 fundamental and technical indicators. The platform uses artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to constantly study the changing market conditions and adopt the analysis mechanism in accordance with these market conditions. The first version of our platform has been running 4 months ago. And since that time, accuracy of our forecasts of cryptocurrency prices, and these forecasts were more than 800 units. At the moment, 86%, it's a success of our forecast. This is completely transparent and open numbers that every day updated in our section called Forecast Log. Currently, our platform has about 21,000 active users every month, 21,000. Most of the audience are residents of the United States. Our users' main areas of interest are finance, investment, banking, financial service, and so on. Also, our users use the desktop version of the website and mobile version equally. Total registered users, as I mentioned before, it's 10,000 users. We made internal calculations and have revealed that with our current dynamic of attractive for the new users, we will reach around 100,000 registered users by 2021. And if 3% of them pay to us for the service, we will have around $100,000 every month. We also have a strong communication with our users through our social accounts, Twitter, Telegram channel, through the email, customer support, and we collect feedback from them to improve the platform interface and its functionality. Total current active audience in our community is about 6,000. We haven't started making money at the platform yet, but we are already close to it. We follow the business model, where we first want to gain a solid subscribers base, at least 1,000 registered users, and then we will implement the monetization system on the website. Monetization structured, as here you can see, first of all, it's subscription, selling subscriptions to the users, advertising sales, and sales of apps. According to our plan, we should have about 2.5 million net profit at the end of 2021. This is the real numbers. We plan to reach this numbers through our marketing strategy, which is based on content marketing, partnerships, and integrations. Also, we will use paid advertising. Right now, our platform is being integrated into the website layton.org. It's a very famous project which has 350,000 registered users at the moment. And all of them soon will see our brand new platform, and we will use it very soon. Now we are open for the next investment rounds, and we are ready to sell up to 30% of our equity for 1 million. And a large part of these funds will be allocated to the marketing for attractive new users. Part of it will be used to develop the platform, to accept a large flow of people, and improve the payment system on the website. This is all that I wanted to tell you guys. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Nikita. Lisa, please. Lisa somehow is stuck. I don't know what's happening. Nikita, I will say you just unshare your video, please. Yes, come ahead. Come with the face. I will have a look. Who is the next? Yes, wait a second, please.
Yes, you can see me.
Yes, Megamind. Vyacheslav Shalstich.
Yeah, that's right. Almost.
Your turn.
It's Shляchtich. Yeah. Thank you for having me in such strange times. I have a fancy text and a fancy presentation, but I'll try to make it like less boring, as funny as possible. So let me put. Okay. So let me tell you about Megamind. It's not yet another cloud service. It's a project that visions our idea of a global computing environment. We've been working on it for a couple of years, and what we are trying to achieve is to create a commonly used service for distributed computing, which will be used for business and science needs. The problem. You know the problem. Maybe you don't really understand it clearly, but you know it. The idea is that the total power of unused potential computing power of all the computers all over the globe, it is enormous. Yes, and we know that Alibaba Cloud, Amazon, Google, they all provide cloud computing services. But the potential supply by everybody connected to the internet, it's really huge. What they think we could utilize this power for good, because Today, owning a computer, you can what? You can type a letter, you can look at memes, you can watch YouTube. But well, the useful amount of time that you spend, that your computer spends during the day, it's not big enough. And what we think what we can do is to utilize this power for computational tasks, to put these resources for good use, and thus reducing the costs of cloud computing. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Obviously, what we have in mind is we have the mining well, industry. You know that well, miners, well, they do well much of heating the atmosphere. Yes, lately it's been a problem for the whole planet, and what we think we could put this hardware to something that will result in solving medical problems, scientific problems, in making rendering less costly for people. And we think that creating a system with a platform as service architecture, which allows users to trade computer resources, might be a good idea. It is profitable both for individuals with their home PCs and industrial miners with dozens and hundreds of GPU-based rigs. We see that there is an imbalance between current mining yields and costs of computing in commercial clouds. The gap is so dramatic that we can lower it for buyers and still have our intermediary fee. And as an evolutionary step of the core service, we started development of a Linux-based mined operational system, which makes it easier for hardware owners to connect to MegaMind. You can just flash your rigs with MindOS and you're ready to solve practical tasks. Let me put this another way. You're a miner, you have MindOS installed, and you mine your cryptocurrency and everything's okay. But let's say that the price of the cryptocurrency dramatically drops, and you have all this huge amount of hardware unused. MindOS allows you to use external tasks even automatically if the price of the task is, well, let's say it's more interesting to do the task than mine Ethereum, for example. So you, well, that way we optimize the usage of your GPU as a miner, and you can still mine it. And besides that, MindOS allows you to, well, doing some trading stuff, it allows you to mine, make it more optimal to mine, for example, Ethereum, by selling it in high prices, and that way keeping the inflow of USD increased. But you know, it's all about the cases, because again, it's a marketplace. There are several sides of people who could use MegaMind. Of course, I told you about those who could supply the computing power. What about those who could use that computer power? So we are really heavily focused on several use cases, and we are looking for some partners who needs cheap computing, fast computing, and what we could develop MindOS and MegaMind. And the most promising one in the development is the photogrammetry case. And we also think that DNA sequences might be really interesting. And of course, artificial intelligence, neural nets. This is the third case. At first, MegaMind development was much like an R&D project. But today we have shed some light on the steering cognitive, and we strictly adhere to our roadmap. We know the technological stack and the whole architecture, and we can plan development up for a year ahead. Another moment. We don't see this as an entirely technological project. We know that the business part of the project is important as well, and the legal part of the project is important as well. And therefore, our team, it is very diverse. It consists of professionals who gives us a broad business outlook. So we can look for new cases which are hungry for cheap computing power. There is an appendix, what is under the hood. You may find a bit more info on what Megamind really comprises from IT point of view. Well, we ask you to look for our white paper for more detailed project description. And of course, the contacts. So basically, that's it. I hope that not everybody is asleep. And if you have any questions, I will gladly answer. I'll try to answer.
Thank you, Vyacheslav. Any questions from the Tina and Christina?
How do you make money with this?
This. We believe that first of all, we don't rely on crypto payments. So the idea, of course, we use smart contracts in the system, but just to store the data, who calculated what. So we've got a company in Switzerland, which will be directly connected to the those who need for the computing power and those who provide. And we act as a medium who gets its commission on reselling the computer power automatically, doing all the finance management. And at some point, it is important to have some legal responsibility, because if we say about, I don't know, small task, it's simple. But if we speak about science project which includes DNA sequencing, I don't think that any laboratory will get to, if we have a normal agreement with our commission, this will allow us to sell this computing power. But we don't really believe that it is possible to use crypto community as the clientele. We think that in these cases, if we speak about real business, it's always about legal entities, agreements, commissions, exchange rates, all that good stuff.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Yeah, we have to move forward. Thank you. Do we have Almir Salimov here?
Almir, you have very interesting topic, pregnancy tracker. Where are you? Guys, unfortunately, Almir is not with us, and we can go ahead, we can go forward with Akryl, Yuri Lifshitz. I see you're here.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, guys. Glad to see you today. I want to start my presentation with a short story, briefly about the current situation in the blockchain world and what do we have as for today. And then, of course, I want to show you our deck. So give me a second, please. Okay. Just a minute. Sorry. Okay. 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 Here we go. As for the story I've got, nowadays in the world heading to a global digitalization, most of the businesses from small ones to big players meeting the same problems within the working process. Data losses, human factors faults resulting in unpredictable management decisions, and complexity of inner system interactions. The bigger system gets, the more fragmented and unstable it becomes. So here is when Akryl takes the stage. Let's start by meeting our core team, founders and advisors. Here, I want to highlight our level of expertise and immersion into development field. We have started our project from 2016 as a blockchain consultant. So we're crypto enthusiasts, and now we have grown our network and proceeding with our business. Okay, brief information about us. Our current presence, geo presence, our monetization model, and of course, what we're aiming for, our vision. We want to create a standard for IT ecosystem based on blockchain. This is our vision, and this is our main goal. Next, we have a client's problem and our approach to resolve it. Our product is a blockchain as a service, which provides clients easy integration models between the blockchain and popular services. As you can see, Microsoft, CRM system, software, and so on. So, talking about the problem, the IT components in the enterprise systems are fragmented and do not interact with each other completely, or may create an error during their interactions. And here's our painkiller. A blockchain implementation is a core technology that integrates all IT components in a trusted environment through accessible integration models ready from the box. The value for the client is a multiple or significant increase in business efficiency, reduction in production costs. Then it's crucial to mention opportunities of the market and our volume to claim. The blockchain market gaining its potential annually and worldwide, creating new problems and challenges we're ready to face and resolve. Also, I'd like to mention our tech stack. It's an essential part of our project. And beside the main part, a blockchain we have created, we're using new fast development technologies, starting from big data to VR and AR, depending on the client's individual needs. So, what's the difference between Acryl platform and competitors? As you may see, we are fast and easy to integrate with client existing systems. So they don't need to build any registry, so we can easily integrate our platform like a product from the box. The next is our go-to-market strategy. And here our main point to create a solid and scalable model and to support our dealers network in both segments, B2B and B2C. As for B2B, we work with our direct clients, with businesses to solve their problems using our blockchain tech. And as for B2C, it's a client who can purchase our nodes, which is a main part of our network. It's decentralized and it's located worldwide. So it's a physical decentralized network. Then, this is the closest milestones we want to achieve together with our potential partners. We plan to keep developing our project by expanding our network presence, creating new use cases and products, and making new solutions for business troubleshooting. And of course, the last, but not the least, our investment plan, where we are providing details for our potential partners, how we plan to grow together, and what we're offering to make our partnership beneficial for both sides. Thanks for your attention. I think that's all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have to move to the next project, which is KLVPN by Yaroslav Lunyov. Hello.
Hey guys, can you please switch off your screen share?
Okay, sure. Sorry.
Acryl. Yeah, thanks. Are you guys from Novosibirsk, by the way?
Hi.
Yaroslav, please turn on your.
Switch it off.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no worries. Just wait a second. All right. This is my presentation. Hi, my name is Yaroslav, and I'm the co-founder of KLVPN. So in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you why all of you are going to use a distributed VPN in the next 5 or 7 years. So, yeah. So every user or company on the internet brings some money to the table in form of data, documents, money in the bank, or cryptocurrencies. And as you can see, the problem is global. So as for a hacker, there is a profitability line, and cost of every hack should be less than potential profit. So our task is to move this line far away beyond the next 30 or 40 years. So there are more than 1.4 billion people who use VPN, and half of them use it to get access to restricted websites like Netflix, Pornhub, or even LinkedIn in Russia. And 36% want to keep their privacy so no government or company could get it. The server infrastructure of the current VPN providers is vulnerable to blocking because once a company gets big enough, it's easy to block half of the servers, so none of the users get a decent quality of connection. And don't forget DPI, it's a deep packet inspection that scans traffic and look for suspicious packages. For example, Golden Shield of China. So what about free VPNs? Have you ever thought how these guys monetize it? They sell you data, and that's the challenge. Make a free, very accessible VPN with the highest level of security. So the market. There are more than 400 major VPN providers globally, and none of them has even 10% of the market share. Different estimations say its size is between 20 to 100 billion USD worldwide. According to our top-down analysis, it was about 18.5 billion in 2019, and it was grown by 14.5% over a year. But some more recent information showed that the growth dynamics right now passes 25% line, and that's huge, I think. So our team has a rich background in blockchain and network security. We already built commercial VPNs for US and Europe, and we've decided to create the perfect product. It works for free. It cannot be blocked. It uses only quantum-safe encryption because we are kind of quantum geeks. It doesn't affect your bandwidth, and it is very easy to recommend to others because the more users it has, the better quality you get. So KelVPN is a torrenting applied to your internet channel. So we made it test worldwide, and it works everywhere, even in China. So basically, it is a P2P marketplace of internet channels, and you can become a node and use a network for free, or you can pay a small fee to use it in a client-only mode. Also, you can earn tokens with it by launching a node on your home PC or server. According to our customer development, from 7 to 15% of people would prefer to pay for the service rather than launch a node. So this is our network effect view. This is the difference between the current VPN solutions and the KelVPN, as you can see. So the product is easy to recommend because every user makes the network better and more stable. So what's under the hood? It is a blockchain service on a self-frame platform, and we are the founders of it. So it gets all the benefits from the self-frame blockchain platform. Quantum safe encryption, very efficient code. It's plain C. It's with the assembler optimizations. It's I think the most efficient code. And enormous scalability because we have a horizontal sharding implementation. So blockchain and open source transparency allow you to be sure that all your data is secure and no one in the network can see it. This is my favorite question. So how can we compete with the big guys when the market is already stable? Well, we see a gap in the market today that can help us grow. A lot of media exchanges, crypto media and crypto exchanges gathered a huge audience that cannot be monetized due to a bear market, for example. The audience is in 90% of cases is the same audience we are looking for. So we're going to offer them a rev share program. That's going to be the start. This is a map of our competitors. As you can see, we have blockchain, torrent, and the classic VPN markets. And at first, we're going to start at the smallest one in the niche of VPN, torrent plus blockchain. And then we're going to gather the rest. So what about traction? We've been building it for 1.5 years, along with the development of self-frame platform. So we have a verbal agreement to launch a rev share program with the 6 blockchain media and exchanges. A compound audience of these potential partners exceeds 50 million people. We are in public beta, and we've gathered about 3,000 testers all around the world, including all regions of China, and we plan to release an app in June. We had almost no ads for this campaign because we thought it would be just friends and family, but we got several publications for free from decent websites who list information about VPN and similar things. So about our token, as you can see, it's the type of token is CNT1, self-frame native token, and this is the work token, so it actually does something. And you can use it for staking or for payments inside the system, inside the KVPN shard. So if you want to take part in our journey and build a real decentralized web, so feel free to drop me a message. I have other slides, so if you have any questions, if you have any questions, I just can answer and show it to you. So feel free to ask me anything.
You know what I need? I need that free VPN. Where is the link for download? Where is it?
Oh, I think I'll drop it in the chat, or you can message me and I will send it to you directly. Okay. It's kelvpn.com, actually, kelvpn.com.
Okay, thanks a lot, Lisa. I think the word goes to your side, yes, and introduce another speaker. Yaroslav, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Yaroslav. The next one is, this is the last project we have, and this is Evedo by Stoyan Angelov. Stoyan, you are welcome to the stage.
Hello, everybody. My name is Stoyan Angelov, and I'm happy to be here to present our project. I'm going to do screen sharing now. Okay. Yeah. What is Evedo? We started the project 2.5 years ago, and we face that there are a lot of difficulties nowadays in organization and execution of a single event, no matter if it's a small event or a big festival. 2 years ago, we started with a simple story. Imagine that you're an organizer that want to organize some, let's say, event for 200 people in London. You will face a lot of difficulties, like finding the right venue, finding the performers for your event, finding the rental companies and all the catering services or technical equipment for your event. And that's why we actually built the first in the world online marketplace that brings all together the participants that are organizing events, like performers, any kind of venue, any kind of rental companies, any kind of event organizers, promoters, brands, and equipment companies. This is one part of the project. And imagine that I already organized the event, and now I need to sell my tickets. What we are doing with Evedo is to provide a one-stop shop, full circle of solution for the event organizer. And when you organize your event, you are able to sell your tickets through our ticket sales marketplace. And at the end, like all the problems that the industry has, and now more than 50% of the people are organizing the event like on a spreadsheets, coordinating everything by phone, and there is no centralized place where to have all the processes. We are building the solution where all this will be in the past, and we want to bring the innovation and the new technologies into the event industry in organizing and executing and sales. What we also we are going to implement the blockchain part and the blockchain technology into organizing the events and selling the tickets, tokenizing the tickets, using the smart contracts and the escrow functionality of the blockchain to secure all the relations in the platform and to bring the transparency and the security into the whole industry. We already have our business-to-business marketplace live, alpha, for more than a year now, and our fully functional ticket sales platform that we already have for the last 3 months during the quarantine. We have more than 150 events executed through the platform, more than 3,000 tickets sold, and more than 200 event organizers that are using the platform. And this is just the beginning. And what we also have is that we are building a third part of the project, which is a webinar solution that will provide to the online event organizers the technology to execute their webinar also through our platform. It will be also a one-stop shop for the online event organizers. As you can see, the market is huge. Like these are like this is the market estimation before the coronavirus, and all the research shows that like maybe in 2 years the numbers will be back to normal. But with this slide, I want to show you how huge the event industry is. Like, we are facing the whole industry and all the aspects of organizing and executing and attending every kind of events worldwide. As you can see here in this very crowded slide, we have a lot of competitors, which are blockchain, non-blockchain, and like companies like Eventbrite, companies like Blocktix, companies like GetGigio. Like, they're facing the same problems that we face, and we want to solve with our product. But we are better than them, because we are first cheaper, then we are more secure using the blockchain, and third, we have the best product on the market. We also have our Avedo token that will help like the whole ecosystem to circulate and to work more transparent and more securely. The token is already live since 1 year. We're listed in a couple of exchanges now, and it's just the beginning of the usage of this token. It will serve and create the smart contracts for the tickets, will digitalize the tickets, and will decentralize the tickets also, and the ticket ownership. And also, we're going to use the token for a lot of activities into the platform, like performance marketing, like premium services, and a lot of other stuff that will bring economy into the token. Very important, who is behind the project? Me, all my life I was doing I was in the event and entertainment industry, and also in the startup and technology scene, and I'm very experienced with the industry, and we have also amazing team of co-founders, which are our CTO, which is a technical guy, Rick, Anton, which is a creative and design, Elena, which is business development and marketing, George, which is high-end lawyer. And the advisory board around us, we have more than 15 advisors. Some of them are really well-known names on the event and entertainment industry, also in the blockchain. We have Jimmy Jeremejev, which is a managing partner of Lemon Bush. We also have Yoni Younger, which is a director of Millennium Films Hollywood, and Sajid Kausar, that is a big name into the booking industry, and Nicole Alexandrov, which is a founder of Locktrip. As I say, we already have our marketplaces live, and everybody can go and check avedo.co and can already register, sell his tickets as event organizer, or register as a performer, or event organizer, or a venue. And we already have our alpha of the webinar platform. As you can see here, like, we are well supported from a lot of people in the crypto scene, like Michael Ni, Ivan on Tech. Also, we have mentions from CryptoCrawl, Didite Hutu, and a lot of other people that we already execute different campaigns with them, and they're really support our project and help us to grow. As I say, we are more than 2 years old now, and what we are seeking now, we execute our initial exchange offering 1 year ago in BitForex. And we raised our funding around $300,000 that we are using for developing our products and penetrate the markets. But now we have the products ready, and we are seeking for equity investment that we are going to use for team growth, for business and development and marketing, for product development and other activities that will lead us to the next step of the project and lead us to the mass adoption of the technology that we have. The roadmap is pretty intensive, and we aim until the end of 2021 to be well-recognized event platform and marketplace worldwide. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you very much, Stoyan.
Yeah. Thank you, Stoyan. I have one thing mentioned. You know, I don't know how it happens, but all the meetings from offline goes here on online. That's why no need to, I don't know, fly around the globe. That's why no need. All of us are here. I don't know how it happens. Maybe besides of COVID, that's why we are here. Lisa.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stoyan, for your presentation. I was wrong about the last presentation. We also have another one, which is Hard About project, represented by Alex.
Alex,
good.
are you here?
Yeah, fine, thanks. How are you all doing?
Alex is the Katya. Alex, yes,
my wife, she's not be able here, but I'm a general partner, so I can speak on behalf of the project. Let me get the demonstration. And can you see it?
Yes, for sure, it works.
It works, yeah?
Yeah.
Basically, we started the project about 2016. We were developing it for about 2.5–3 years. We started as a social network. We wanted to do it as first we looked at the project like Wishbone, which is quite popular in US for teenagers, and we moved more to Reddit, and then we developed. Basically, we did our project, which is where community voice worth something. Can I go through it?
Alex, please make attention. I don't know why it's not appears correctly.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to do it.
You're going to share with appropriate application.
Just a second. I'm trying to do it.
Everything is good. Don't worry about that. We are on attention.
I'm not worrying. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to do it. I actually asked organizers to help me, but
yeah, no problem. I can share it for you if you don't mind. It's okay.
Yeah. Is it working now?
Is it working? Yes, it's working. Now it's good.
Now you can see it, yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it is the project which we spend a lot of time on. We moved from, as I told before, from Wishbone, then we moved for Reddit, and we took all of from the most interesting social networks, apart from the social networks which promote people themselves, like Instagram. We developed a project which is more about the content. So let's start. So basically it's about the industry, billions of people who share, connect photos, videos, problems for billions of people expressing themselves. And basically the solution for our project is an app where users get paid for creating content. You probably know that on the market we have Steemit, we have Golas, and probably we have Karma. That's it. But the problem is, for example, with Steemit and Golas is that those projects are mainly web. And as you know that concerning market, concerning revenue, more revenue comes from advertising, which is comes from mobile advertising, mobile revenue, where, for example, Facebook and other big networks, they earn 80 to 95% from mobile advertising. And as we see, also as we saw from Nimzes, which was created about 2 years ago, we saw a very, very big boom. But they actually didn't do quite well, because not in terms of they did very well, but they didn't do well at the end, because the value of the NIM, the value of the currency within the network, did nothing worth. That's what we changed. Our actually currency worth something. Basically, it's just about what our social network, which is actually you can download. You can download it for Google, and you can download it in Apple. We hired probably one of the best designers and UI experts to do the best probably one of the best designed social networks concerning content, not Instagram again. And actually, as you saw before, 1 week ago, Reddit actually also in one of their groups, they said that they will be make people that the people will have rewards for the time. And actually, we did it like 1 year prior. So earn when you post. Basically, in Harbaut, we developed the system where people, authors, can earn when they post any posts, any content. However, we have a special system. It's not like everybody can earn. It depends on the voters. And it depends on the things which we have a bit further I can discuss. Earn when you vote. Every user is evaluated, paid for taking time. So basically, when you vote, you can earn as well. We sophisticated. We took actually, I remember that time when we took Steemit. We within our team we discussed it for about half a year. And we understood what the problems they had, and we developed our own system. If somebody is interested, what our actually mathematics, how we did it, because it can take a long time to discuss. I can send it privately. So basically, earn when you vote, and it's all working. You can download it, you can check it how it works. It looks as nice as it on the picture, maybe probably even better. Actually, we 1 month ago we also did a lottery within. We developed a lottery which is quite interesting. It's went very well. If somebody is interested, we can discuss it further. Then we have reward authors. As we see the trend, which we can see that people donate quite a lot, as we can see from Twitch, and we can see from other networks, even from Reddit. However, as long as Reddit doesn't have the value which you can transfer to Rubles or BTC or whatever, yeah. But it's a trend where people can reward interesting content. Also, you can do it in our system, and then people can, to send it to exchanges. We actually our currencies are trading in 5 exchanges, which is Exmo, Lifecoin, Mercedes, and what I can't really remember, but the big one is Exmo. And actually we are now speaking with Bittrex, and about 2 hours ago they sent us the promotion, the offer. Bittrex Global. Compete with friends. We have a unique feature where you can have where people can see which content is more favorable. It's I think what we saw again with Wishbone is that it's very interesting. Will be for can be or will be, and definitely will be for companies where they can understand. Sorry for my English. They can understand which content is better. So it's again, sorry for my English.
Alex, don't be so sorry. All of us not native language for us. It's good. Yes,
sorry.
It'll be acceptable.
We have 2 cryptocurrencies, which one is for rewards. Again, another one for advertising. For more information, I can talk more deeply in it. We have a white paper for each cryptocurrency. All of them are actually concerning HP cryptocurrency. We had a very successful IO at Exmo Exchange, which is the biggest in our region. Our region for 30 minutes, we sold all of our everything. Basically, we sold everything for 30 minutes. Both cryptocurrencies are at the exchanges, and if somebody is interested, again, we have quite a lot of information to explain the difference. Business model, yes, that's the most important thing, because quite a lot of people asking me, okay, so you are you as a company giving rewards, yeah, where are you taking it? So is it not a Ponzi scheme, basically? Of course it's not. And even it's not a cashback. Our system is made.
Alex.
Yes, can you hear me?
Alex, we are not hearing you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
What's happening?
I don't know.
I can hear you.
No. All is fine. All is fine.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. So basically, it's not definitely it's not a Ponzi scheme, as you know, from the big networks like, for example, Instagram, their revenue, not Facebook, their revenue about $8 to $9 billion. Of course, a lot of other social networks, even before us, even before Steemit, they try to give rewards, sort of like cashback on advertising. Yes, so you get money from advertising, you give some to users. We did a completely different is history. We have like a power of heart. Yes, we have. Our main thing is not just to give cashback on advertising. Our main thing is to persuade that people, that authors and voters, that there will be much the best content. It's not. I mean, again, sorry for my English. It's quite a complicated system. If somebody is interested, I can. I can talk on it. I can talk on it a bit later, and if somebody is interested, and can explain it in more in details, because everything is working, and as we see now, people are very. We have a very high sticky factor that people actually want to use us. Concerning our mission is to create a unique place when everybody's content, the creativity is appreciated, is very important for us. As we see our main competitors, not again Instagram or all this, is more of marketing themselves. We see as Reddit, we see Peekaboo. Peekaboo in Russia is in our region. It's 3 million unique users every day. So we see competitors them as basically as people who want to share the content which not about themselves. This is our foundation project outline. Basically, what we spent it about with listings about $2 million, as we see now, our own money. This our milestones. We completed our project. Now we make, as we go roadmap, we are now trying to do advertising. We have a bit of problem with advertising because we tried to do through VK, we tried to do through Instagram, but they blocked us. I don't know why, but they blocked us. So we're trying other ways to do advertising. I mean, concerning VK, what was quite interesting because they just blocked us and there's no reason why. I mean, they just didn't even stay. But anyway, we have other options how we can do it, but it was quite interesting. Concerning our team, this is our team of people, of our partners, and that's it. That's our project. Sorry again for my English. I was I actually, I didn't know that it was today. So I found out about 1.5 hours. Again, sorry, if somebody is interested, I can explain it more deeper to show the mathematics, everything, how it's done. Because we did this project for about 3 years. We were doing it.
Thank you, Alex. Your presentation was great considering the short notice you managed.
Sorry again.
It's fine. It's fine. Sorry about that. I would love to let Christina and Tina speak about the whole session. Maybe they have the comments or the questions to some of the participants. You're welcome to ask the question and comment now.
Okay, who wants to go first, Tina?
Yeah, I did actually have a bit of a question about the VPN solution. So if I caught that information correctly, people can get access to a free VPN by becoming a node. Is that how you explained it? And that's I'm just curious how that makes money eventually.
Sorry, is it to me question or other?
Yes, to Kel VPN.
No, it's not here. Unfortunately, yes, he leave.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I'm good for the moment, Christina.
Okay. Yeah, I had the same question. I always have the question was how you're going to make money, right? So the other question that I had it for Megamind. The other question I have is for the Tips FinTech is how are they going to find their clients? Because B2B is one thing, B2C is another thing, and you seem to get a lot of, it's a very hard sell.
I'm sorry,
Guys,
but
you hear the question?
Yeah, I don't remember the name. Nikita.
Nikita. Yeah, it's Nikita. Unfortunately, Nikita also left.
Oh, okay.
Christina, I can answer a question about Kel VPN, how they go to make the money. For the people, for the customers, for the end users, there is the VPN as is free. If you already install the node, if you're going to be gateway, if you're going to be at the same time the user, you give in the traffic, you attract the traffic. Yes, it's the one day. But for the enterprises, there is another deal. They have huge bandwidth from them, and they have to pay for that. And that product is oriented for the huge enterprise and for the end clients, for the end users, which are not able to share the bandwidth, the connection with another people, and they just choose to pay for someone. It's okay. That's it. That's all the business.
It's like a paid VPN.
Yes, we're talking about VPN. Yes.
Yes, it's a paid VPN, and if you want to share, you just exchange the favor.
Yes, like a torrent. You give something, you attract something. If not, you have to pay for the traffic. Yes.
That's it. But then it's just safer.
Yes. If we're talking about security now, it's not centralized some kind of server, because when there is no server, there is no logs, there is no traction. That's why it's work much more security for the whole community.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Right, got that one. And then the Vero, acryl, and I had another one for the acryl people. Yuri, is he still there?
Yeah, I'm here listening to you.
Okay, the blockchain as a service, right? So what I couldn't understand is what kind of service is that you are going to be providing as a service? I mean, do you install on people's computers what exactly is the service?
Okay, yeah, thank you for
It
the
wasn't
question.
clear to me what
Yeah,
it was.
okay, yeah, I see. Here's the point. Our project consists of two parts, two essential parts. The main part is a network. A network got more than 1,000 nodes that distributed around the world, a physical nodes. They are connected directly to a provider of just a home providers of people worldwide. This is how we achieve a decentralization. So the people rewarded for support network, and we provide these network resources for business by making SDKs, making models to store data and so on. It's based on the product. I mean, the product based on the business cases. So it's really individual, as I mentioned. So it's we get cases from excavations, from mining, and we made for them technology based on VR and a laser tracking system, and we have stored the info in blockchain, so to make a trace, so it couldn't be changed, or so the data became immutable. This is how business work. So we get the input info from the business, and we are troubleshooting them. So we find how we can create a service for them, and it will be ready from the, and easy to install.
Okay. So the question is it going to be really scalable? Because you have to go to different industries and find the case for each one of them. And it's going to take time and resources from you. And then is that going to be applicable to many industries? So you have to go to mining, you have to go to oil, you have to go to, consumer goods, have to go to different industries, and that takes time and effort. And
Of
then
course,
will that be able to scale in time so that you don't die before then? That's
this is a good one. Yeah, of course, we do understand this, and this is the main and crucial point where we're working. From the start, we do understand this is the main problem we will face in future. So this is the point where we made a box SDK, a box product, which will fit because how do I say this? This will provide a lot of areas to use. This is our point, and so we've got more details in our bigger deck. So of course we've got details, we've got a structure, we've got all the details. So it's very simple.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add one more question to Nikolai Shkilov? Nikolai, is it okay for you? Yes. I see on your background, very lovely RoboCat. Do you anyhow automate the business for the e-commerce? Or it's somehow been implemented on the platform or not? Because it's robotizing cat, and I think that the best way to somehow been implemented.
Yes, we think we will do it. We use this cat. It's in Japan. It's maneko neko. It means success. It means wellness. It's like this. It's our social person in all social media. Speak with people, some videos, and it's good for Asia. Maybe do you know, because people from Asia like personage, like mascot, like this. Because my face not so good.
Okay, I see. I see now. I got your point, because for European people is also likely, and it's also lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lisa, go ahead. Your turn. You're moderator of this event. We don't hear you. Just turn on your mic.
Yes. Thank you so much for the session today. We had beautiful pitches today. I hope Tina and Christina enjoyed and also had a good time with us. And thanks everyone. Thanks for your time. Hope to see you soon again. Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you a lot. Yes, nice to meet you as well. Yes, in the near future, we have to go out to the air.
Okay.
See you.
Good luck, everyone. Bye-bye.
It was a pleasure. Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.